before that wraps up. Hopefully you've taken advantage of it. If not, hit on 2120 Witten Road. Head on over, I should say, to Family Leisure later today and see all the great deals they have, especially in the world of spas. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, and our producer in training, Elijah Seeger's with us here on this Monday, September 23rd, 2024. We got a busy show, as you would imagine. Monday during football season. Yes, lots to get to, including a extremely disappointing, ugly in many ways loss for the Memphis Tigers on the road at Navy with a chance to pull it out somehow miraculously in the end, but it wasn't to be as the Tigers fall at Navy 56-44. We will talk about that game, the ramifications from that loss on the program today. Of course, we'll wrap up everything that happened in the American Conference in the SEC, including Ole Miss doing its thing and Tennessee going to Norman to beat Oklahoma in Oklahoma's first SEC game. We'll go around the nation and look at all the national games. We'll also talk about the latest as far as the Pac-12 and the overtures towards Memphis and several other American Conference teams. Will we get some kind of answer sooner than later? We will discuss that on the program today. Also, we'll take a look at NFL action from Week 3 with 2 games still to go. Yes, 2 Monday night games, including the Commanders at the Bengals. We'll have that game for you right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, beginning with our pregame show at 7 o'clock. Also tonight, you have the Jaguars and the Buffalo Bills. Major League Baseball down to its final week of the regular season. We'll talk about that. And the Memphis Tigers basketball program, along with programs around the country, open up training camp today. They open up their first official practice. They've been certainly practicing off and on throughout the last month, several months, and, of course, the off-season workouts. But now getting down to the nitty-gritty as the Tigers will begin basketball camp in what should be a very unusual season because a lot of people don't know what's going to go on with this Memphis Tigers basketball team. Your guess is as good as mine. New coaches on the coaching staff, obviously a new roster, so we'll talk about that on the program today. And everything else that's going on in the world of sports. We'll take your calls and texts on the Sports 56, make that the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I know your weekend included a trip down to Starkville. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, always fun to get down to Stark Vegas, see the folks down there. It was hot as hell at that game, but in Mississippi State, that's not a whole lot to be excited about right now with the old football team at Mississippi State. It's not a very good team.
And they lose their starting quarterback, Blake Shapen, for the rest of the year? Is that what I heard?
I don't know if he's out for the year or not, but yeah, it was just defensively they are. I mean, they made Florida look like, I don't know, like
Steve Spurrier's Florida Gators?
Like I can't, if Florida can look like that, I can't imagine what like Ole Miss can do to might do to their defense. Like it's, man, they did not put up much resistance to Florida. Florida basically completed every pass they threw, just marched down the field, scored touchdown after touchdown. There's some work to be done there for Jeff Lebby.
You mentioned the heat and the humidity, certainly in the Mid-South. It was hot in Annapolis, hot in a lot of places around the country. Look, we're going to still have the heat pretty much for the next month. I know it's officially now fall. Welcome to fall. But you know Memphis and the Mid-South and the Deep South, it's going to stay hot for a while. In fact, you probably go through half of the season or more, the football season, before it starts to cool down. But today, it's currently 70 degrees. It will get up to 90 today. You'll see the sun, and then the clouds will start to roll in this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy early. Thunderstorms developing late, so that chance of rain, pretty good, 70% that you'll get late night rain, overnight into the early Tuesday morning hours. And then Tuesday, a good chance of rain, a little bit of sun, but 91% chance of rain for your Tuesday before things settle down on Wednesday at about 21% chance. And then more rain for later in the week, heavy rain possibly on Thursday and Friday. And then Saturday's about a 33% chance right now, of course, subject to change, and it will change. It's the weather, for goodness sakes, before the Tigers get ready to play their Saturday game at home, Saturday evening game against Middle Tennessee State University. And speaking of the Tigers, I know there's a lot of upset people, got a lot of texts after the performance at Florida State. And Florida State did win, finally, as they knocked off Cal. And even though it's not the Florida State team from last year, it was a great win. So the highest of highs for Memphis, and then unfortunately the lowest of lows, as not only do they lose to Navy, it's their conference opener. They fall to 0-1. Now, backs against the wall for not only the conference and the conference championship game, although still all their goals in front of them, and we'll discuss that, but certainly puts them in a tougher position, not dire, but tougher to make it as the Group of Five representative. Again, we'll go over all those scenarios. Memphis also falls out of the coaches' poll, not a vote in the coaches' poll, nor in the AP, the Associated Press writers' poll. So Memphis completely out of it. There is a lot of work to be done. And that defense, which was flying around the ball, so aggressive for the first three games, especially in that Florida State game, they were just absolutely sieved by that Navy offense. A new-look offense by Brian Newberry's team as he brought in an offensive coordinator from Mercer who made Memphis look silly. They bid on every fake. They had wide-open gaps, Navy. They threw the ball as we knew they would throw the ball to open receivers. Memphis could not stop Navy and that attack, which is more than just the triple option. They have variations of a lot of things, including a little bit of shotgun. He'll get behind the center most of the time, Horvath, but a little bit of shotgun, a little bit of wing tee, old school stuff. And Memphis made Blake Horvath look like the second coming of Roger Staubach. Again, 56-44 in the season, or the conference season opener for Memphis. Just an extremely disappointing. I mean, that's not even I should use a harsher term, right? But they lose for the first time against Navy in their last 6 outings. Memphis put up 659 yards of offense, Eli, but they still fall.
Yeah, it's to have a 300-yard passer, 200-yard rushers, 200-yard receivers, and lose a game. Can't imagine it's happened very often. And that's just like it's crazy. But
yeah, that's usually a recipe to win games.
But yeah, and I mean, yeah, they made Blake Horvath look unbelievable. Like that was crazy. Like this was kind of flashbacks to what we've seen out of defenses for the Tigers, kind of in recent history, recent years. Thought a lot of those problems were cleared up, but boy, they just did not have the answer. And again, they've had great success offensively against Navy in these past few years, and they had that again. I would have never in a million years guessed that they would be giving up 56 points to this Navy offense.
Big gashing holes running the ball. I mean, they show a lot of eye candy, and it confused Memphis completely. How about the Horvath touchdown where all he did was fake one way, follow his tight end or his H-back into the hole, and then go right up the middle with no resistance. There was certainly some finger pointing going on as players went to the sideline. Frustration, no question about it. Yes, Navy had the extra week to prepare, but Memphis starts to prepare for Navy in August during camp. Here's the problem. Again, and Pete Medhurst was on our show, the voice of Navy. I talked to him before the game and then after the game. And what he told me was they put 25% of their offense in for the first 2 games. They played Bucknell and a really bad Temple team. Bucknell 1AA team. So they didn't have to show a lot. So there was not a lot on tape to show Memphis. Certainly enough to have the attention of Memphis because it is a unique offense that is only run by a couple of teams with different variations from what Kendi Amatalolo ran when he was the Navy head coach. So that means 75% of their offense they hadn't even shown. and they threw the kitchen sink at Memphis. They had reverses and throwbacks to the quarterback, all kinds of things, and everything seemed to work. And yet, in the end, I'll give Memphis credit for one thing. They battle. They fight until the end. They don't quit. And I love that about the team. They come down, they get the touchdown, and then they get the onside kick. Perfectly executed onside kick by Caden Costa. They have the ball deep in Navy territory, under a minute to go, still at a timeout, and you just don't expect this from your senior quarterback. Seth Hennigan throws an interception, which is returned for a touchdown to make that score 56-44 your final. But Memphis being outplayed, at least certainly by the Navy offense against their defense, the entire game, had a chance to win. You like your odds when you have Hennigan at the helm. Now, Rock Taylor was out with an injury. Kobe Drake had just gone out with an injury. They were limited. They had some new receivers in there, like Bussey and Shorter, who did a good job. But Seth, who's a big man about it, after the game, he came over to us on the post game and talked like he always does. He doesn't shy away from it. He talked about that play and what was expected, and he said the defensive back just kind of jumped the route. He didn't go with the receiver as he expected, and where he put the ball, he was able to jump on it, intercept it, and return it. But, you know, to be in that position was shocking because Memphis was outplayed by Navy. But they had the chance, weren't able to capitalize. Navy gets a huge win, and now you look at Memphis behind the eight ball because Navy has the head-to-head now against Memphis. We'll see if other teams out there can figure out that Navy offense. Army, who Memphis does not play, runs a similar triple option offense. They are undefeated. We didn't even think about those teams in our equation going into the year. It was all about Tulane, South Florida, UTSA. And it still is and very well could be at the end. But now you have to consider Navy and Army, and Memphis, again, loses the tiebreak if they are tied with Navy.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that's the problem here. Like you lose that conference opener, and now you're immediately have to think about tiebreakers, all of that stuff. That'd be perfect if the first year that Army's in the American, them and Navy play in the conference championship game, and they have to turn around and play the next week again against each other.
Exactly.
Perfect American conference symmetry. Yeah, I listen. You start again. The offense. Yeah, I mean, they did pretty much everything that you could possibly ask for them. For the defense, it was as if they had never seen anything like that offense. Like, I mean, Horvath. I mean, the holes he's running through, like the 90-yard touchdown. Like, oh my gosh, like there's nobody close. Like it's like every little fake. You know, we talked with Coach Silver. Like it's assignment football. You can't worry about all that other stuff. You got to know what your assignment is, and they did not do that at all. Like they were all over the place. It looked like they were completely confused as to what this is. I mean, Horvath is certainly, you know, he's better than some of the quarterbacks we've seen there in the last few years.
But he's not Keenan Reynolds.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't be running for 211 yards on, you know, averaging nearly 20 yards per carry. Like, it's like that shouldn't be happening. It's just an unbelievably bad performance by the defense. Like, it really just to give up that much to this offense and never be able to figure out what was happening seemingly is just crazy.
Well, again, Jordan Hankins takes over the defense for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game. They stymie a very good Iowa State team. And then they open up the season with 3 wins. The defense looks great. You're thinking maybe Hankins is a Wunder kid. And then, or Wunderkind, I guess they say. And then they turn around and look like, as you said, that they never saw tape on Navy. Again, Navy threw in a bunch of other stuff that they didn't see. But you know it's assignment football.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the first couple of games they didn't have to show much and they were easy, but like they didn't come out and go run and shoot on you. Like they ran the option and their quarterback ran for 200 and some yards against you.
Yeah.
Hey, here's the hint. Navy's quarterbacks are going to run. Especially if you just leave gaping holes for them. Like, that's their offense. Like,
but they're also now...
They didn't reinvent themselves. They ran their offense, and Memphis never had an answer for it.
Right, but now they're also going to pass the ball. And receivers were wide open, like they have been through the first couple of games for Navy versus Bucknell and Temple. I've seen some of the video, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. Guys are wide open by 30 yards in the secondary. And I thought, nah, it's not going to happen with Memphis. No way. And it happened. So Horvath goes for 403 yards of total offense. He accounts for 6 touchdowns, 4 rushing, 2 passing. We don't have to wait for the announcement from the American Conference. He is your offensive player of the week. But as you said for Memphis, Hennigan throws for 371, 2 touchdowns. Again, that pick was big. 200-yard runners, and Mario Anderson, 17 for 117 and 3 touchdowns. Good to see Brandon Thomas, because Greg DeWosier, as I expected, out and will be out for a number of weeks. Thomas, 12 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown. 200-yard receivers. Cody Drake, 9 catches, 102 yards, was fabulous. Rock Taylor, 6 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. Both got hurt late in that game. Taylor never got back in at the end, looked like maybe an ankle, not sure. Drake, definitely a groin injury. It was right there in front of me as he tried to catch a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Came back and caught that 2-point conversion, but then was not in there on that last drive. So injuries, certainly, you have to keep that in mind as you move forward. Of course, Memphis has the game against MTSU. Then they have a bye week. Elijah Herring made the trip, was in uniform, did not play. As I mentioned, Greg DeWosier out, did not make the trip. I think he's got a collarbone. We'll see about Taylor. We'll see about Drake. A couple of other guys got banged up, so adding injury to insult. And now you get ready for an MTSU team that's not so good. Derek Mason, their head coach, former Vanderbilt head coach, Saturday at 6:30. MTSU lost to Duke at home, got clobbered in a game that had its delay because of weather. But Memphis should get back on track. The question is now, the people who were so excited about the Florida State win and who are not season ticket holders or who were not planning on going to the game, and then after they beat FSU said, we're going to go to the game. I hope they don't have a change of mind, change of heart. Hopefully Memphis gets, because again, it's not over, but Memphis puts themselves against the wall. Their back's against the wall. And why is that? Well, obviously, you have one loss. Now, let's break it down to 2 different things. One, the conference. You're 0-1 in the conference. Again, we just talked about it. You lose the head-to-head to Navy. Army's unbeaten right now. I'm not saying they're going to go unbeaten, but you don't get to play them. But you do get to play South Florida, UTSA, and Tulane. And so you got that in front of you. Beat all of them and see what happens. As far as the group of 5, again, 1 loss will not eliminate you. 2 losses will. But you also need to see help around the country. And you got some over the weekend. South Florida, routed by a Miami. Did not see that one coming. You had Northern Illinois lose. You had Toledo lose. Maybe they won't be factors in the end, but early on, factors because of their wins, including the Northern Illinois win at Notre Dame. Boise this weekend against Washington State. You got to be rooting for Washington State. They're not part of the group of 5. They are not in position to be that representative, even though they are undefeated. Boise, if they win that game, certainly has a leg up. Liberty should have 2 losses, but they're still undefeated. They beat New Mexico State. They rallied to beat East Carolina. East Carolina could have helped you out there. But the one that really is thrown into the mix now is James Madison. They put up 70 against North Carolina. I know North Carolina is down to their 3rd quarterback, but I'm talking about the defense of North Carolina. James Madison put up 70. So we'll see where they go, because that conference, which is very competitive and probably will be again, is not as strong. Coastal is not as good, not even close. App State is not good. So James Madison could go in there and run the table, and that would be a team that certainly would get a lot of consideration. So that's the predicament Memphis is now in by losing that game. They're not dead by any stretch of the imagination, but certainly backs against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, any margin for error has just been used. You don't control your own destiny anymore in the conference. You have to have help from others. There, you have to win out and then hope things work your way. And if you win out, there's certainly a chance. Though obviously Navy has the tiebreaker. Army just has the benefit of the schedule in the conference. I mean, Army could not have gotten luckier. They were very nice in welcoming Army to the conference. I mean, their conference schedule is just really easy. They don't play Tulane. They don't play South Florida. They obviously don't play Memphis. The only one of those teams they play is UTSA. Obviously, the Navy game is a non-conference game. Right. So they've got coming up Temple, Tulsa, UAB, East Carolina. That's their next 4 conference games.
Why did they feel
Then they got North Texas and UTSA. That's their conference schedule. Army doesn't even have to be that good, and they could be undefeated in the conference.
Why did they find it necessary to hand them something on a silver platter? I don't even understand that. First of all, I would think that maybe you invite a team into your conference that they may not even be eligible the first year for the conference championship game. But even so, you make that schedule that easy, whereas the Memphis schedule at Tulane, at UTSA, at South Florida, at Navy. The 4 toughest games in the conference for Memphis are all away, and the 4 easiest are all at home. So, again, if Memphis is going to be that good and be the group of 5 representative, they got to win all these games. So I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses. But Army, I'm surprised they handed them a gift. So you're right. Army looks like they may roll through the conference schedule and go undefeated. And then Navy has a leg up on you already. So Memphis is going to need a lot of help from some of those average to really bad teams. Again, East Carolina has the lead, controlling that game against Liberty, non-conference game, but they blow it in the end. Some of these teams are going to have to rise to the occasion, and Memphis is going to have to run the table. They're going to have to beat all these teams in the conference, and their schedule is tough. So all of a sudden, the jubilation of last week and all the talk about the Pac-12, which is still there, and that possibility, and we'll get into that as we move along on the show. But certainly all that excitement last week dissipates a bit when you get smacked in the mouth.
All the positive momentum. I mean, things were great coming out of that Florida State game. You're rolling. You got the big win on the road. Like, you're thinking, yeah, I mean, this is what we kind of hoped for coming into the year. You put yourself in a great position going into conference play. It's all right there in front of you, and then you just go get smacked around and give up 56 points to that offense. Like, it's a bit of a rude awakening. Like, okay, wait a second. This is not how conference play was supposed to go.
See, nobody expected it. I didn't expect it. Nobody expected it. Now, the problem is, did the players take it lightly? I can't imagine, because we've talked about how good the Tigers coaching staff is and those players respond to going game to game, week to week. I just think it was an absolute confusion defensively against a Navy team that hadn't shown much and has a whole different approach to their offense. Yes, it's still triple option, but with variations. And they made Memphis look silly. We'll come back. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk about the rest of what happened in the American Conference, the Pac-12 speculation. Then we'll get into the SEC, the national picture in college football, Barrett Salee at 9:05, and then the NFL and other things as well. Folks, it is Chevy truck season. I want to say Chevy Chase. It's Chevy Chase season. It's Chevy truck season. Together, let's drive to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, where all the Chevy trucks are. Every new Silverado you're looking for, come by, test drive a few today. Financing as low as 1.9, no payments for 90 days. That's 3 months without a payment, because your good credit deserves it. How about some tailgating? Next game's Friday for high school, Saturday for college football. All-Star Chevrolet has the best tailgating Tahoes. Now, if you work in law enforcement, if you're a first responder, you work in the healthcare business, military, you're a teacher, you're a recent graduate, you get a $500 bonus when you purchase a vehicle from All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. They have a huge pre-owned section, everything from Jeeps to Nissans, Fords to Toyotas, cargo vans, and many pre-owned Silverados. And if you got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch and get the most money for it. Don't miss this Chevy truck season sale. It's going on now in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Check out these great vehicles online as well at allstarautogroup.com. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Summer's heating up, and so are the savings at Choate's. We've got 3 incredible offers to make your season spectacular. First up, our Grill and Chill with Choate's Summer Special. Upgrade your HVAC system and choose between a free Yeti cooler or a Green Egg grill on select systems. Then power through any outage with Choate's generators. Be one of the first 50 customers to buy a generator and score a massive 75-inch TV or an iPad. Also, don't forget about our tankless water heater offer. Purchase a tankless water heater from Choate's and receive a premium toilet free. Don't wait. These offers are too good to last. Turn to the experts with Choate's and call 347-8086 or visit us online today for your free estimate. Now introducing Choate's air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and generators. Choate's, let our family serve your family.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
650 acquisition fee, 20,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE 794, 626, MSRP 21,820, Telluride RG 543,666, MSRP 39,835, Sportage S734,0278, MSRP 29,135, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, includes tax, title, and license, must finance through Hyundai with approved credit, valid through 9/30/24, dealer.com.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear it's a family affair over there in Gossett Kia, South Mount Moriah.
Yep, we've got something for everyone. 41 MPG Highway and a 2024 Kia Forte LXS, $199 a month, $37.99 due at signing. 2025 Kia Sportage, $269 per month, $34.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $359 per month, $39.99 due at signing. And a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite rear-wheel drive has 0% for 72 months available. You haven't heard 0% in a long time.
Plus, all those bad boys come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
They're taking care of beerness in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their products. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale, called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports. Former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Bound Austin P trying to get up on that ramp there to I-40 as it cranks up over here already with some more volume on 240 east and westbound around Mill Branch up by Perkins as you come inbound there on Lamar working your way towards 240. We've watched that pick up quite a bit also. Hey, don't miss it this Saturday, the Paul Prince Party coming up at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. Take a tour, meet some of the animals. Log on to memphishumane.org for more details. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:33 the time. Hour one here on Sports 56 Mornings. The Monday, September 23rd, 2024 edition, talking about the Tigers' loss to Navy and the ramifications. They fall 56-44. Obviously, I'm on that trip with a bunch of dignitaries. There's some boosters, and, we get into the conversations about the Pac-12 and the potential and all that stuff. Now, maybe we find out something this week. Maybe we don't. The national writers are saying that we'll probably get some kind of answer this week. I don't know why it has to be this week. I know there is some sense of urgency because the Pac-12 or the remnants of it trying to put together this new conference have to get answers sooner than later. But I'm not sure if there's been ultimatums given. I don't even know if official invitations have been sent out. But obviously, nationally to a person, Memphis, Tulane involved, South Florida talked about, UTSA talked about, then possible fallback to a couple of those Mountain West schools if it doesn't work with the American schools. So there's a lot of conversation going on whether or not we'll hear something this week. I mean, it's amazing to read some of these stories about what could hold Memphis back. I've been telling you that since the news broke. I mean, from day one when we heard that those 4 teams from the Mountain West were going to join forces with Washington State and Oregon State and the Pac-12 officials that are still there to reignite this conference, remake this conference, if you will, although it can never be remade in the same mode that it was before. I basically said, look, I mean, Memphis, to me, becomes a factor. But especially if they were to make it a 12-team conference and have an East and a West. Doesn't appear that that's in the cards right now, at least from what we're hearing. Not sure if they're looking at just 8, if they're looking at 9. They have that 8-game conference schedule for non-conference games. I don't know what the deal is. But I can tell you this. It is not as simple as saying, we don't like the American, we're going to leave. There are some people out there that believe that, you have to leave because you got to get out of the American Conference. It's not that simple. I can tell you that Ed Scott and the powers that be, I mean, they're obviously looking under every rock. They're making sure that there is a big advantage for them to leave. And that starts with the finances. That starts with the travel costs. That starts with the buyout clause. All of this. The relationship to ESPN is certainly important, but if the money is right, I could see them leaving. But I don't know. Maybe we'll get some answer this week. I just don't know why, while there's a sense of urgency, Eli, it has to be this quickly. You got to give some teams time to engulf everything that's being thrown out at them, especially when you know that there is not a set media contract in front of them that tells you exactly how much money you're going to make. Right now, it's all a guesstimation.
Yeah, again, I mean, this is all that's what makes this hard for University of Memphis, to whoever, all these schools is. Again, there's a million times. The Mountain West schools, no risk whatsoever. They have no risk in doing this. For them, simple move. For the teams in the American, a lot different situation. So you got to weigh a lot of different things when you're talking about teams mainly from the eastern part of the country joining a bunch of teams from the west. When you're talking about being in a conference now that makes more money than those schools were making in their old conference. You're talking about a conference now that has the deal with ESPN, and there's no doubt about it. ESPN matters in the world of college athletics. And all of it is hypothetical money that you're guessing as to what you might get, because when you don't even have a conference, obviously you can't have a conference television deal. So there's just a lot of stuff for them to weigh. It's not an easy decision. You don't want to. You'd hate to go there, and then in a year the ACC breaks up, and you miss out on an opportunity that maybe you could have gotten in the ACC. Obviously, you've got the cost of getting out of the American to begin with, and the University of Memphis, who's trying to raise money for seemingly a million different things right now. How much money are they going to have to pay to get out of the American, and where does that money come from? So there's just, again, I don't envy Ed Scott for the time that he walked in and took over as the AD. Like, there's a lot of stuff on his plate, and it just keeps adding more and more to it. I don't know. I've said all along, I don't see why that television deal would be significantly more money. I certainly am not in that world. Maybe I could be wrong, but I don't see how a few teams from the Mountain West and a few teams from the American suddenly make some conference that somebody wants to pay a ton of money to.
And for those who think that the deal currently with ESPN shrinks when they have the look-in next year, I found out that that's not the case. So that deal and what they're making now is in place through, 2031?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty solid for a group of five. It's a pretty solid amount of money you're getting compared to what the MAC is getting, the Mountain West, Conference USA, Sun Belt. Again, what can you do if you're the Pac-12? First of all, you don't have all your teams yet. So how can you get those teams if you can't present them a scenario of how much money you're going to make, because this network or these networks are going to commit to airing our games and they're going to give us this amount of money. They're not going to give you a contract without knowing who the schools are. So it's kind of the chicken and the egg thing. It is a tough decision. There's a lot of people that are just, I'm fed up with the American. But it may not be a better situation when it's all said and done with everything that you have to take into consideration. So we'll see. Again, there's nothing new to report. People keep saying there's new stuff. There's not new stuff right now. It's what we've talked about. Show us the plan, show us the money, the Jerry Maguire syndrome, and then we'll see what happens with Memphis. Now, Tulane and Memphis, they've had conversations. I'm sure they've had conversations with South Florida. I believe from my sources that South Florida, I don't know if they're looking really seriously at going. I think they're holding out hope that maybe the ACC, something happens there, and they would be included in the ACC. I think UTSA is a no-brainer if they get the invite from the Mountain West. They don't make as much money right now as some other schools like Memphis does in the American Conference. They will, but not right now. So, again, when we get information, we'll pass it along. But right now, all it is speculation. We know that Memphis is in the mix. We know that the Pac-12 wants Memphis. We just don't know if, one, a formal invitation has been handed out. Number two, if there is a timetable where they said we need an answer by. We just don't have that information at the moment.
Some text here on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line, 360-8255, 360-8255. Drew texts in, says, did Silverfield and the staff watch any film all week? Team was completely unprepared. Embarrassing.
They watched film, but yes, it was embarrassing.
Steve says, the same problem for years now. The Tigers can't get a dominating defensive line together, but I will say Elijah Herring might have made a difference in that game. Certainly, he makes a difference, and they needed all the difference makers they could on defense. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but yes, I mean, he certainly they could have used everybody possible on defense on Saturday. They needed as much help as they could have found.
Couldn't have hurt.
Gave up 56 points, for goodness sake. Yes,
couldn't have hurt.
I would say having one of your better tacklers would have been nice. Again, may not have helped at all. But it would have been nice nonetheless.
Well, look, they figured out a way to beat Florida State without Elijah Herring. They played physical. They played attack mode defense. Elijah Herring, unless he could have picked up that offense of Navy that quickly, because, again, they threw in 75% of their offense in that Memphis game that they had not shown the first two, then not only would he have been a difference maker, he'd be pretty brilliant and probably a good candidate to go to the Naval Academy because those guys are brilliant. They have no problem in running what they do. They're just, look, do they outsmart teams? They do. I mean, that's what they do. They do it to a lot of teams. I just don't see. Here's the thing. I had this conversation with people. Navy's really, Navy's good. But Navy is not going to go undefeated. Somebody figures this thing out. There's no question that a team or two is going to figure out what to do defensively.
You mean somebody might figure out to tackle Blake Horvath?
Yeah. Well, tackle, they didn't. It's not like he was shedding tackles. He wasn't even.
That's the whole
there was
point.
nobody near him.
This wasn't anything other than the Memphis defense just was terrible. They fell for every little fake. They didn't do assignment football.
Exactly.
You're just leaving big holes. This wasn't because Navy did some crazy thing. They did what they do.
Oh no! Don't give Navy their just
They did
rewards.
what they do.
No, they did more than what they do.
You gave up 20 yards to carry to the quarterback.
I know. Memphis plays them every single year, right? You know what they do. It's a different type of variation of the triple option. They did a lot of things that were different. Now, they should be ready for them. You have to, as you said, I completely agree. You have to play assignment football. You can't look at it's a reverse and then leave your gap. You can't do that. And they did that continually.
I mean, their quarterback averaged 17.5 yards per carry.
Crazy.
I could have told you going in, hey, the quarterback's going to run. I did during Tiger Football Report. He was their leading rusher. And I said, when they throw the ball, Heidenreich. Watch Heidenreich.
Right.
This wasn't genius stuff.
That's what
tackle somebody.
That's what upset me. Is even let's say you played your basic 3-man front, your 3-4, drop 5 back. Oh, well, they're not a real big passing team, so we're not going to do that. We're going to move a couple of guys up and all that. Try not to fall for the eye candy, man, and be disciplined. Have a spy on Horvath. I mean, I was just really surprised. I'll be interested to hear from Coach Hankins when we talk to him Thursday in the coaches meeting what he thinks happened, other than he'll just say they just beat the snot out of us. That's what he'll say.
Raider, of course, says, I guess the Tigers and Raiders held joint practices last week. The coaches, defense, DCs, nor the players as a whole had good showings. Also says, and the Cardinals got eliminated. Just a bad weekend. Yeah, for a Tigers and Raiders fan, I would say that would qualify as a bad weekend. That's a rough one to stomach.
Don't mess with the red rifle.
And to throw the Cardinals in there getting eliminated, yeah, that would qualify as a bad weekend. The Cardinals part of it, I certainly don't feel bad about, Corey. But the other stuff, yeah, I feel bad for you.
See, you wore red today. I thought you were in mourning for your Cardinals, man.
Cubs were eliminated, too. Just about everybody in the National League's.
I don't know if this does anything for you as a Cubs fan. But you know the Cardinals, the greatest fans in baseball. First time since 2006 that they didn't go over 3 million in attendance. 2.869 million, not too bad, but still under the 3 million fan mark. First time in 18 years.
This time of our program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. BigGreenEgg.com. That's the website where you can get all the information about the Big Green Egg, the lifetime warranty, all of the good things about it, and get recipes and everything else that you need to know about the Big Green Egg. You can also go to the Ace Hardware stores here in town or Hamilton Fireplace. They are distributors of the Big Green Egg, where you can check out the different sizes of the egg, pick out the one that's right for you, all those egg accessories, everything you need you can find. And it's the best grill there is, no doubt about it. It's the Big Green Egg.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 95 FM.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 1-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Mitsubishi's final days of summer sales event is about to be gone, so you better hurry to Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Get 42 MPG Highway and 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, $17,930 or $299 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, we Gossett at $27,245 or $349 a month. And get 420 total range MPGE and 2024 Outlander PHEV, $32,750 or $390 a month. Plus, you'll never go wrong with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com. That's Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
14,767, MSRP 18,430, Eclipse RZO 65,450, MSRP 28,745, PHEV RZO 66681, MSRP 42,750, includes all rebates and incentives, 1,095 acquisition fee, 25 cents per mile, excess wear and tear, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Just a quick reminder, it's football season, and if you are not spending a little time each weekend watching college or pro ball at Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown neighborhood bar, people might be talking about you behind your back. See, everyone else has figured out that Bell Tavern, with its ice-cold beer, signature cocktails, cozy atmosphere, and incredible staff, is the perfect place to while away a bowl Saturday or Sunday, cheering on your team in a place where people act like adults, whether their team is winning or losing. Bell Tavern is not a sports bar, except when it is.
Memphis, help us honor Liza Fletcher's memory and build a brighter future for our student athletes. The Liza's Light University of Memphis Soccer and Track Stadium Fund is in the first phase, with the goal of raising more than $7 million for the construction of the Liza Welford Fletcher Stadium and upgraded facilities that will inspire our Tigers. Join us in our mission and let your light shine. Visit lizaslight.org to learn more and donate today.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:50 the time. We'll talk NFL later on in the show. We'll also get into the story about the Grizzlies and their deal with the renovations and where things stand with the state. Interesting story that I saw from the Daily Memphian that's worth mentioning here on the program. We'll do that. We'll talk SEC coming up in hour number 2. Barrett Salih will join us, by the way, at 9:05. The rest of the American Conference results from the weekend. Tulane, in a good game against Louisiana, outscored them 41-33. Tulane winning that game. Army, as we said, got an easy schedule. They steamrolled Rice 37 to 14. This one I was just plain old wrong about. I thought South Florida plus 17 was an easy play. They lose 50 to 15 to Miami. It was close for almost the first half, or maybe the first half, and then I don't know what happened in the second half. I was on the plane. 50 to 15 Miami. Miami's the real deal.
Cam Ward's the real deal. And South Florida is a terrible second-half team. I don't know what their deal is, but they gave up they had the disastrous fourth quarter against Alabama.
Yeah.
This one they were down 7 at the half and got outscored 28-0 in the second half. It just South Florida is not good in the old second half.
UTSA, after getting blasted by Texas State and Texas, plays another team from Texas, Houston Christian, and they win 45-7, UTSA does. Indiana, pretty good little team. Not just because they blew out Charlotte, but I like what they've done so far this year. They beat Charlotte 52-14. Again, Charlotte, Rice. These are teams Memphis plays at home later in the year. They're not good. Temple got a win. How about that? 45-29 over Utah State. East Carolina had Liberty down. I think it was 17-0. End up losing that game. That could have helped out the league. 35-24, Liberty wins. UConn all over Florida Atlantic. Wow. 48-14. Tom Herman's team takes a thrashing by Jim Mora Jr.'s team and a UConn team that's not that good. I don't know what happened there.
Florida Atlantic is not very good.
Apparently they're not. Tulsa got a win in overtime over La Tech, 23-20, and North Texas will also be in to play Memphis later this year, 44-17 over Wyoming.
Some more texts here on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line. One texter says, on the 90-yard quarterback touchdown run, where were the DBs? Where was anybody? Where was anybody on that? I mean, it was the seas parted. I mean, nobody even came close to really touching him.
Yeah, so, again, they go a little misdirection. They'll fake the handoff on a wide sweep. The D-back on the one side bites. Now, I don't know why the D-back on the other side bit. I don't know what happened there.
Well, the one defense, like the receiver was blocking him 50 yards downfield. Like he could never get off the block.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Then you had the H-back come around.
Everybody else, I don't know where they were.
Right. The H-back comes around and then goes straight up the middle and gashes who's ever there. And then the quarterback, Horvath, who gets really low behind the center, is really good at doing that, goes right behind the tight end and then breaks free. And once he gets into the open, he's got some speed, puts on the afterburners.
Grizzly Steve says, give us a break. We left all our defensive strategies in Tallahassee. On to the next game.
Look that way. But you can't use that. Seriously, you can't use that strategy in a game against Navy. And I'm not saying they did. But the attacking, aggressive defense against the Florida State offense, it worked. Because you didn't give Uyunglele time to throw the ball. He was under pressure. With Navy, you do that attack, and maybe they did some of that. You attack them, they're going to go around you. If they'll do unbalanced, and they'll go to the unbalanced side. They'll fake one way and go the other way. Everything is movement and a lot of eye candy to confuse the defense, which is exactly what they did.
Joe says Navy's running a hybrid wing T under Newberry. It's so lethal and hard to stop.
It is.
Horvath's speed makes it so hard to defend. Bear in mind, a huge part of this is being beat up after Florida State. And all,
nobody's hurt on the defensive side. I'm thinking
Herring, but he didn't play at Florida State.
No, he didn't play at Florida State.
And I'm going to guess some teams. I'm going to guess Navy's not putting up 50 points every game this year.
Yeah, I'm going to be really curious to see, now that all that is on tape, how other defenses fare against Navy.
Says also good news, Toledo and Northern Illinois both lost. Liberty's very unimpressive against a weak schedule.
Yes.
If you win out, it's in front of you still. Outside of Boise State winning out or UNLV, Wazoo and Fresno State and FSU playing well are your best friends.
Well, yeah, Wazoo beating Boise State really helps because Wazoo can't go. They're not part of that group of five. But one school, who was this text from? They didn't hear me at the beginning of the show. Who is this?
Joe.
Joe, the one team that's missing from your text is James Madison. Look up James Madison. Look at the teams in front of them, who they play. They just put 70 up on North Carolina. James Madison is scary to watch out for them as far as Group of 5 representative.
We got some more text that we will get to. If you want to chime in, you certainly can. The Sicily's Log Cabin listener line is open to you, 360-8255, 360-8255 to get those texts or phone calls in. You are more than welcome to do so. Genesis Diamonds, folks, if you're in the market for jewelry, looking for that special piece of jewelry for some special occasion, well, head on over. See the folks at Genesis Diamonds. The value you get with the great pricing that they've got on an amazing selection of jewelry, it's just second to none. They've got all of the top designers, all those names that are going to make her very, very happy. Then also you're going to get a great price on it as well. And you've got a great staff over there that's going to help you pick out exactly what that perfect piece of jewelry can be for you. They're going to educate you, make you a better shopper when it comes to buying jewelry. So whether you're looking for that beautiful engagement ring, looking for a pair of earrings or a necklace, whatever it might be that you're looking for, they got a great staff to help you pick it out at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
All right, more of your texts. Your calls are welcome. We're going to talk SEC as well when we get back for hour number 2. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue 6-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
We're in the break room at a traditional jewelry store here. Hey, Mark, I know it's our job here to try and sell every piece of jewelry, but don't sell this ring. I'm going to try to use my employee discount to buy it for my wife.
Okay, but you know you can get a better deal at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds? Are you crazy? They're not like the boss here.
All I'm saying is I got a pair of diamond stud earrings there for my wife and paid a lot less than what we charge here, even after my employee discount.
Wow.
You never know who you'll see shopping at Genesis Diamonds. With no middleman pricing on the best selection of diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bands, and bracelets, it's a no-brainer.
I admire your dedication to our jewelry store and not going to Genesis. I know the boss really appreciates your loyalty.
It's just the right thing to do, man.
And it's nice your wife won't mind getting a smaller diamond.
On second thought, can you cover me while I take a break? Genesis Diamonds, the smart alternative to old-fashioned jewelry shopping. With more selection, lower prices, higher quality, stronger warranties, and zero pressure. At Poplar and Perkins Extended.
It's time to get your Kia on at Gossett Kia on the bike with 41 MPG and new 2024 Kia Forte LXS $199 a month, $37.99 do it signing. 2025 Kia Sportage $269 a month, $34.99 do it signing. And 2024 Kia Telluride S $359 a month, $39.99 do it signing. signing and 0% for 72 months on 2024 Kia EV9 Lite available. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
50 acquisition fee, $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte RE794, 626, MSRP 21820. Telluride RG453, 666, MSRP 39835. Sportage S73 40278, MSRP 29135. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 includes TTNL. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit valid through 9/30/24. Dealer stock only.
This Sports 56 traffic report is brought to you by Luttrell Building. They keep you moving.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. It's starting to get heavier with that traffic volume coming westbound here on I-40 as we check it out live from Germantown Parkway all the way up to Sycamore View Road as it builds now. I-40 on that ramp there to 240 on that flyover. Some of that traffic getting off there onto Sam Cooper coming inbound. It's picking up even more. I-40 east across the Hernando de Soto Bridge as that traffic builds over from West Memphis. Hey, don't miss it this Saturday. The Paul Prince Party coming up at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. You get to take a tour, meet some of the animals. Log on now, memphisHumane.org for more details. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Dave Woloshin, weekday mornings from 10 to 11.
Back to Sports 56 mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:03 the time. Welcome in. If you're just tuning into the program, Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, and our producer in training, Elijah Seegers, with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. It's the Monday, September 23rd, 2024 edition of the program. Currently 73 degrees. We'll get up to 90 today. Sunshine and then clouds rolling in later today. Looks like there's a good chance of rain this evening into the overnight hours. Low tonight of 71. Then tomorrow, 81 degrees for your high, about an 80% chance of rain tomorrow, although you'll see a little bit of sunshine, but it looks like it'll be a wet Tuesday. We've been talking a lot about the Tigers and their loss to Navy, the Pac-12 scenario and what the ramifications are. We're going to get into the SEC here in just a few moments. Barrett Salee will join us at 9:05 to talk all things college football. We'll go over the NFL schedule to date, which includes all the games from Sunday, and preview the two games tonight as we got two Monday night football games. Final week of the Major League Baseball regular season. Lots to get into. Do want to tell you, folks, about James Gaddis Jewelers. They are the second-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings, located at 4900 Poplar, right between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at GaddisJewelers.com. If you're going to pop the question this fall, you're looking for that special engagement ring, wedding rings, personally designed wedding sets, or any other fine jewelry, that is the place for you. They are your bridal, engagement, and anniversary jeweler headquarters for over 50 years in Memphis and 25 years, between 25 and 30 now, I guess it is, at the location on Poplar Avenue. Each Monday and Friday, they bring you the Memphis Sports Fact. Did you know the Memphis Redbirds wrapped up the 2024 baseball season yesterday with an 8-6 win over Durham? The Birds finished the season 74-74. That's the first time that they've been 500 or better since the 2018 season. The Birds were 38-38 at AutoZone Park. James Gaddis Jewelers, go visit them today. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. All right, let's dive into the SEC.
Well, we got some more texts here.
Let's get to that first. Okay.
Tigers, 360-8255. Texter here says, with everything Navy did, this was lost by two bad quarterback plays. Our quarterback, with everything he does well, will give the ball up. I don't know what the two bad. I mean, obviously they had the pick six at the end. I don't know what the other what is. This wasn't on the offense. I mean, the offense put up 650 yards and 44 points. This was on the defense.
Was it a bad pass by Seth Hennigan in a situation where we all thought he would be able to lead that team to this amazing comeback win? Yes, it was. But he also did a lot of positive things in that game. That throw to Rock Taylor between two defenders was incredible. To sit here and to blame Seth Hennigan is ludicrous. This is all on the defense. End of story.
He threw for 371 yards. He threw 56 times. Threw one interception. Yes, that's unfortunate. I bet all that stuff. But no, this is not on the offense in any way, shape, or form. It's not on anybody on the offense. Wayne says total annihilation of the Memphis defense by Navy. It was embarrassing. If Memphis doesn't win their third AAC championship ring this year, then this will be the most disappointing season in a long, long time.
With all the hype, I could certainly see that.
Another texter. Memphis was poorly prepared, played like they were clueless on defense, acted like their quarterback was a highly communicable lethal disease.
What?
It is unforgivable how the Tigers played. The score was closer than the way it really happened. Navy thoroughly whipped our guys and our coaches. If you actually watch football on Saturdays, you don't see potential college football playoff teams get run off the field the way the Tigers got humiliated against Navy. That's from Joe in Jackson.
I like Horvath, though, in leading our country in future confrontations with other countries. I do like the intelligence of Horvath. I'm not sure what is his expertise, but my God, he was crafty. He was deceptive.
Yeah, again, we'll see where Navy goes from here, but, I mean, that's just, as many have said, it's an embarrassing performance defensively.
Well, it's also hard to believe that Memphis is going to need help from somebody to beat Navy. Again, they had won 5 straight games. By the way, Memphis installed as a 24.5-point favorite this Saturday against Middle Tennessee State. Okay, we talked about the American. We went over those scores from the weekend. Let's talk about the SEC. You were in Starkville. You watched Florida beat Mississippi State 45-28. Graham Mertz, the much maligned one, 19 of 21 for 201, 3 touchdowns. We already talked about Blake Shapen being injured for Mississippi State, may miss the rest of the season. Nobody expected big things from Mississippi State in Jeff Levy's first year. But Florida, you got a coach in turmoil whether or not Billy Napier will make it through. He needed the win, and he got the win convincingly in Starkville.
Yeah, I mean, Mississippi State is just it's tough times there. Defensively, they just really couldn't slow down Florida. Florida just kind of did whatever they wanted. I mean, they had 2 incomplete passes the entire day between the 2 quarterbacks. It is a full-on rebuild. Whether he can get it done or not, I don't know. I don't know where Mississippi State stands in the world of NIL and all that stuff, but they need a lot of help right now. It's just not a very good football team.
What is, or who is a very good football team is Tennessee. Because not only does Tennessee have an offense that could put points on the board, although stymied a bit against a very good Oklahoma team in Norman, Tennessee has a defense. Tim Banks, one-time Memphis Tiger staff member on defense as a coach. Tim Banks' defense, first in total defense in the country, second in rushing defense in the country. They've allowed 2 touchdowns in the last 20 quarters. Tennessee beats Oklahoma 25-15.
Yeah, that's been the question mark with Josh Heupel. Could he get a defense in there? And they certainly this defense looks legit. If they could do that, I mean, they're going to be tough to beat. I mean, they just kind of relied on the running game and the defense to win the game for them. Didn't ask Nico to do a whole lot. Just got the lead, kept running it, let the defense do its thing, and that was good enough. And they're with that defense. If they're going to play like that, that's a defense that's certainly gives them an opportunity to not just make the playoff, but be they could win a championship. I think that defense is good enough. They could win a championship. They are one of those teams that you certainly would put in that conversation.
I had Tennessee as one of my playoff teams. I did not think the defense was going to be this good. I knew they were going to be good, and that's the reason why. But this defense is lights out.
And thank God for thank you to Nico for the 66-yard touchdown pass there at the end of the first quarter to get that first quarter cover. That was very huge. I thought for sure.
Yeah, you talked about that on Friday.
Thought that bet was lost, and then the 66-yard touchdown right before the first quarter ended. Very, very nice play.
Ole Miss wins convincingly again, 52-13. They'll get ready for conference play starting this Saturday. Game you'll be at Vaught-Hemingway as they'll host Kentucky. By the way, Tennessee will have a bye week. But Ole Miss, look, Georgia Southern played them tough early. That is friend of the show, Clay Helton, excuse me. He was former coach at USC, went to Georgia Southern. He's actually got a pretty solid team, and they played Ole Miss pretty close early, but then Ole Miss just too much firepower. Trey Harris, 11 catches, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. They have outscored their opponents. Hold on to your hats here. Through 4 games, 220-22.
Yeah, I mean, to this point, they've done what you would expect them to do. They've got Kentucky, South Carolina coming up. I mean, everybody thought to start the year that Ole Miss should be 6-0. They haven't changed anybody's minds with their first 4 performances. Now we'll see if they do get by Kentucky and South Carolina before they get into the tougher part of the schedule. But Harris has 628 yards already receiving in 4 games. 38 catches for 628 yards through 4 games. I mean, his numbers are incredible. Every game, it's 9 catches for 150, basically. That's what you get.
Well, if he keeps up this pace, I mean, he should be a legitimate Heisman candidate, but Dart will also be one, and they usually defer to the quarterback. So those guys are going to put up gaudy numbers, both of them, and we'll see what happens at the end as far as Heisman talk is concerned. Arkansas, I don't know. Maybe Sam Pittman's going to save his job, at least what we think was a season in which he would probably lose his job. They beat Auburn on the road. All right, it's not a great Auburn team, but they still win on the Plains, 24-14. And Auburn's got all kinds of problems with their quarterback. Hank Brown, the freshman, starts 3 picks. Peyton Thorne comes in, throws another pick. And Hugh Freeze, after the game, basically throwing his quarterbacks, everybody, his offensive line, everybody under the bus. 24-14, Arkansas. Again, I don't know if Pittman will save his job, but they're off to a good start. They should be undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, I give them credit. I did not. I thought this whole thing was going to. Now, granted, it still could. They could still lose. I mean, the schedule gets really, really hard from here for Arkansas. Yeah, hey, I guess I thought maybe that old Hank was going to be the answer. Not the answer. And then with Hugh Freeze, and then Bo Wallace. Bo Wallace coming from the top rope on Hugh Freeze after Hugh Freeze's comments after the game. Bo Wallace just going all in on his former coach at Ole Miss and talking about how he always throws players under the bus in losses and then wants to take all the credit after wins. I mean, didn't have that one on my bingo card for Saturday, of Bo Wallace just going off on Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, Bo also teased a story that he said he would not reveal, but a story that really is damning about Hugh. I mean, I don't know what that is, but he alluded to that.
If you did not see what Bo Wallace said, we're approaching the point that he's thrown so many quarterbacks under the bus that maybe no one wants to play for him. His offense helped me tremendously put numbers up when I blew my shoulder out. But why is it someone else's fault every time there's a loss? But when there's a win, I watch the press conferences just to count how many times the word I is used. Appreciate what he did for me. My son wouldn't be playing for him, though. He continues to do the same things. I literally turn on his press conferences on Mondays and I count how many times he says I after a win. Then it's just somebody else's fault, and I remember the feeling of being thrown under the bus constantly.
Yeah, he ripped them apart. I took notice of that as well. Elsewhere in the SEC, Vanderbilt nearly pulls off the big upset in Columbia. They lose to Mizzou 30-27 in double overtime. Blake Craig, who had missed 3 field goals earlier in the game, hits a 37-yarder to win it. I guess Vandy had a chance to win it. Their field goal kicker missed one as well. Or was that the time? I don't know what that situation was. I know they had a missed field goal.
I did not see the overtime.
I thought Vandy had a chance, but they certainly had a chance because this game went to overtime, but they come up short 30-27.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they did not score, obviously, in the second overtime. I don't know what happened on their drive in the second overtime.
That would have got Vandy back on the bowl train if they were to upset Missouri, and it doesn't happen. So we'll see. But again, Vanderbilt, except for the disappointment against Georgia State, they've been pretty competitive this year. Texas A&M beat Bowling Green 25-20. Not a real convincing win for Mike Elko's team, but they win. LSU doubles up UCLA 34-17. Grant Nussmeier, 32 of 44, 352 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and then LSU got the bad news that Harold Perkins is going to be done for the year with a torn ACL. That's unfortunate for him. But, it's that their defense certainly has enough trouble. They don't need to be trying to replace one of the best players they have, and really one of the best players in the country. So I don't know. Don't know where LSU goes from here, but I do know UCLA is not very good.
Not good at all. First year for Deshaun Foster as the head coach, the former UCLA great running back. Kentucky, which will be in Oxford this Saturday to play the Rebels, 41-6 over Ohio. South Carolina blasted Akron 50-7. And then Texas beat Louisiana Monroe 51-3 with Quinn Ewers out. Arch Manning, you ever heard of him? He got the start at quarterback. 15-29, 258, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Basically a C grade, I think is what he said about himself. I think he graded himself about a C. I would say that was average performance. They're not playing a great opponent. Did some good things, did some bad things. He's a young quarterback. I think he has all the goods to become a great quarterback, but a pretty workmanlike, yeoman performance.
I would say barely over 50% completions and 2 interceptions against Louisiana Monroe. Average at best.
Average at best. So this week, there are 6 games. So that's 12 SEC teams in action. 4 will have byes. I told you about Tennessee, one of those. You have Ole Miss hosting Kentucky. Ole Miss is a 17-point favorite. Arkansas, Texas A&M. Is that game at Jury's World?
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M a 4-point favorite. That's one Arkansas could steal. Oklahoma and Auburn on the Plains. Oklahoma 2.5-point favorite against a struggling Auburn Tigers team. Speaking of struggling, Mississippi State at Texas. That could get ugly. 38.5-point favorite are the Longhorns. South Alabama at LSU. South Alabama's been putting up a lot of points, but LSU does as well. They're a 20.5-point favorite. And then the big one in Tuscaloosa, both teams coming off the bye. Georgia at Alabama. Georgia, a 1.5-point favorite. We'll talk more about that big game as the week progresses. We will take a timeout. When we come back, we'll look at the national scene, including Florida State's first win, and they rushed the field in Boulder for a win over Baylor. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue. Great place, great option for lunch, for dinner. If you're tailgating at a football game or any other sporting event, it makes sense to bring along some Corky's. You got an event coming up in your life, you want it catered, Corky's will do that for you. Celebrating 40 years in Memphis, 40 years in existence, and 40 years of catering. They'll start you out as low as $8.99 per person. Just give them a call, find out about their catering services. When you head over for lunch or for dinner, they got lunch specials every day. Party packs start at just $7.49. You get out a third of a rack of ribs for just $7.99 when you purchase an entree, maybe a barbecue sandwich or their award-winning catfish plate, tamales, any other great entrees. Plus, start you out. Cheese and sausage plate makes sense. They have great barbecue nachos and delicious desserts as well. Poplar Avenue in Memphis, Poplar Avenue in Collierville, Germantown Parkway in Cordova, and Goodman Road in Olive Branch. And also, you can reserve their private party room at both the Cordova and Olive Branch locations. I should say either one. If that tickles your fancy, just give them a call in Cordova or Olive Branch, and they'll schedule something for you. Hopefully, you take advantage of that private party room. Corky's Ribs and Barbecue, open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Come by and visit TSS Supply Friday, September 27th. Sports 56 will be broadcasting live from 7 to 10 a.m. with Greg and Eli, and then John Harden from 11 to 1. Sports 56 will have free giveaways plus breakfast and lunch during the live broadcast. TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Check this out, Randy. New 2023 Dodge Charger FXD, $27,499, over $10,000 off MSRP.
Ronnie, what about Renegade?
New 2023 Jeep Renegade, $27,499 or $319 a month.
Hey, Ronnie, tell them about that deal on Gladiator.
2024 Jeep Gladiator, over $7,000 off and 0% for 36 months available.
Don't forget about that Ram truck deal.
2025 Ram Tradesman, over $6,000 off MSRP.
Rocket Rise, that's right. That's the rest of it. Come to the best and gossip. Clutch for Jeep out Ram out on the bike. Online at gossipmotorcars.net.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekend. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, fall is football. Get your tailgate season going now and win a free tailgate package from Buster's Butcher. Stop in Buster's Butcher, 199 South Highland Street, and register to win an Ice Mule Cooler, 4 Yeti Coasters, a $200 gift certificate, and some Buster's branded swag. Tailgate package valued at $500, no purchase necessary, 1 entry per person. Winner drawn 10 a.m. October 1st. Buster's Butcher offering the finest selection of curated meats, cheeses, prepared foods, and more. Learn more at bustersbutcher.com.
When you think about insurance and you want great value without sacrificing great service, I want you to think one place, the Eflin Insurance and the entire Eflin Insurance team. Matt and his group of professionals will access 10 leading companies to find the right home and auto program that fits your budget and your absolute needs. The Eflin Insurance team, the number 386-GER, 386-4777.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. Still working with a couple of accidents out here. It's trying to get a little bit busier in the last few minutes on 385 Billmores Parkway here at Ridgeway as you work your way up to 240. Once you get on to 240, that looks good actually from Mount Moriah all the way over to Mill Branch. Traffic still not bad up through the South Haven on 55 going northbound coming up from the south. Hey, don't miss the Paul Prince Party coming up this Saturday at the Humane Society of Memphis, Shelby County. Take a tour, meet some of the animals. Log on today at memphishumane.org for more details. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Texas remains number one in the AP poll, and Georgia remains number one in the coaches poll. By the way, Tennessee moves up to 5 in the AP poll. So you got Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee. That's 1 through 5. Then Ole Miss, Miami, Oregon, Penn State, and Utah. That's your top 10 in the AP poll. Other schools of note from the SEC, Mizzou is 11th. You have LSU at number 14. You have Oklahoma at 21, Texas A&M 24, and Boise State now in the poll. The coaches make that the AP poll at 25. As I mentioned earlier, Memphis out of the coaches poll. They do not pick up a vote for either poll, AP poll or coaches poll. All right, nationally, some games of note. Ohio State, after a bye week, buries Marshall 49-14. Judkins and Henderson, that's a two-headed monster at the running back position. They each had 2 touchdowns. Clemson, after getting blown out by Georgia, they're on a mission. 59-35 over NC State. Not as close as that 24-point game would indicate. They had them down 42-7 at the half.
Yeah, NC State is not turning out to be as good as people thought they might be.
Not at all. Not at all. Iowa State over Arkansas State, our friends from Jonesboro, 52-7. Louisville, not sure how good they are, but I know they're pretty good. They beat Georgia Tech 31-19. Georgia Tech's a solid team, obviously won in Dublin over Florida State, but Louisville at 3-0.
There were a lot of people that, before the year, thought that Louisville certainly was a contender for that ACC title and a playoff spot, and they've been good so far.
Buffalo gets the win over Northern Illinois. That helps out Memphis and other schools in the American looking to be that group of 5 representative. Northern Illinois had the big win at Notre Dame. That's Pete Lembo, by the way, coaching Buffalo, former Tiger coach. They won in overtime. Utah beat Oklahoma State 22-19 in Stillwater without Cam Rising.
Yeah, big win for them. And, certainly the Big 12 at this point seems as though they are the team to beat, and if they get him back, certainly you would think that they are, which is what was picked by most before the year, that Utah is the team to beat, the best team in that Big 12.
Now BYU is 4-0 in the Big 12, and if you were listening to Brandon Lang on Friday, that was his big play in college. He had BYU over Kansas State, and they won easily 38-9. Mentioned James Madison beat North Carolina 70-50. They led 53-21 at the half. Mac Brown, they won't fire Mac Brown during the season, but Mac Brown is done at the end of the year.
It's a rough go right now with that quarterback situation they got, but that doesn't give you excuses for giving up that type of performance to James Madison. Start giving up 53 points and a half to James Madison when you're at North Carolina. That doesn't usually go over well with the fans.
It's just incredible. They kept scoring. I kept looking at that score. It kept going up. USC in its first Big Ten game. They got to go to the Big House to play Michigan. And while Michigan is certainly down a bit from last year's national championship team, big win for Sharon Moore's team. 27-24 over the Trojans.
Yeah, this was they harken back to the Jim Harbaugh days. Just run. Only had 32 yards passing in the game, but able to do enough on the ground, 290 yards on the ground, and able to play good enough defense with that running game to get the win. So huge win for Michigan. After the struggles they had a little bit, but for Sharon Moore to go out and get that win, very big for them.
Yeah, Miller Moss had some nice numbers for USC, but not enough. 28 of 51, 283, 3 touchdowns, and 1 INT. Mentioned Duke beating Middle Tennessee State. I bring that one up because Middle Tennessee State is the Memphis Tigers' next opponent. Duke won 45-17 in Murfreesboro. The battle for the Iron Skillet goes to SMU. Speaking of points, 66-42 over the Horned Frogs of TCU. And Sonny Dykes not there at the end to watch the final moments as he was ejected from the game.
Yeah, now you don't see the ejection of the football coach very often. This isn't baseball,
right?
You don't often get to see the football coach get ejected, but two unsportsmanlike penalties will do that. And Sonny Dykes got shown the door.
Florida State finally in the left-hand column with a dub, 14-9 over Cal.
Man, it is a struggle offensively for them. They just can't score a whole lot of points.
No, they can't. Cal, of course, now a member of the ACC, so that's a conference game. Certainly doesn't hurt Memphis to see Florida State win and maybe win out, but Florida State does get the dub. And then one other game, Colorado beats Baylor 38-31. It's always drama with Coach Prime and that Colorado team, but give them credit. They won the football game. A Hail Mary at the end of regulation to tie it. Then they win it in overtime. Travis Hunter, the two-way player who better be in New York for the Heisman, gets the credit for the forced fumble in overtime. The fans stormed the field like Colorado had just beaten Ohio State or Alabama. Look at Baylor getting that kind of love. A big win over the Bears, but it was a dramatic dub for Coach Prime's team.
Yeah, I don't understand what Baylor was doing defensively on that Hail Mary. That was very poorly defended.
It was horrible.
I don't know, basically just one-on-one coverage. They had to throw the ball to the end zone. I don't know what in the world was going on there. Travis Hunter just continues to be absolutely amazing. It's just I don't know, the dude every single week, 7 for 130 this week plus the forced fumble on the final play to win it. The dude is absolutely incredible, and what he continues to do. But yeah, good win for old Coach Prime and company with the dramatics there.
Again, if you have any thoughts on the Tigers or want to talk about some of the local SEC teams, anything on the Pac-12, if you got some questions about what could possibly happen or what may not happen, hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. Call in or text in 901-360-8255. Going to change subjects in a few moments. Want to talk a little bit about the Grizzlies. Camp, by the way, opens up 1 week from tomorrow. Next Monday is actually media day for the Memphis Grizzlies. As I mentioned, Major League Baseball down to its final week of the regular season. We did have some sad news yesterday from the world of the NFL, and I'm not just talking about some of the results of the games. Two-time Super Bowl champion Mercury Morris passed away at the age of 77. Eugene Mercury Morris, one of the great teams ever assembled, that 72 Dolphins team that went undefeated, and then for years subsequently, Morris and his teammates would pop the bubbly after the last undefeated team lost their game during the regular season to celebrate what that Don Shula-led team was able to do. He was a great running back combined with Jim Kick and Larry Zonka, three-headed monster for Miami in the backfield. They had Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer, but certainly a colorful character both on and off the field. Mercury Morris dead at the age of 77. And that's it. See, my sister worked for the Dolphins when she went to school down in South Florida, and I would get in the mail boxes of posters and pennants and decals and all this of the Dolphins. And they weren't my favorite team. My buddy's actually, his favorite team was the Dolphins. But, it's going to go on the wall because that's what we do as young boys, right? We got football, and girls too, to a certain extent, posters of athletes. And while the Colts were my team and I had all my Colts apparel, I had all these Dolphins things from my sister. So I appreciated her doing that. And Mercury Morris, of course, was a big part of that Dolphins run there in the 70s.
I have no memory of Mercury Morris other than opening up the champagne.
Number 22.
That's all I know of Mercury Morris is the opening up of champagne bottles whenever they did that.
He's the champagne of bottled beer.
Champagne of beers. that I know.
I always think bottled beer. I don't know why.
That I know a thing or two about, the champagne of beers. Miller High Life. Miller High Life's a good stuff.
There you go. All right, let's take a timeout. We come back. We got lots to get to, and I want to talk about this Grizzlies story and what may be a holdup as far as the Grizzlies and getting those renovations done. They haven't even had the renovations started. They've had their own work that they've done on the sound system, which will be nice for when the fans step back into FedEx Forum. But certainly a lot of things that have to be done as far as the state allocation for the money for the renovations and how it could affect the future with the Grizzlies here in the city of Memphis. Also, the WNBA playoffs got underway. Some interesting notes from that we'll talk about. We'll get to the NFL. That'll be in hour number 3. Don't forget, 2 games still to go tonight with a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. Both games, one at 6:30, one at 7:15. Mm-hmm. So not spread apart. I don't even understand that. Why you don't have an early game and then have a West Coast game or something like that later. Why? What's the purpose? Have 2 against each other.
It's
not Sunday, for goodness sakes.
It's just more football. They put one on ABC, one on ESPN. They get 2 different games. It works out well for them. East Coast Wings and Grill, you can watch them both there. You can watch all the action there. East Coast Wings and Grill, plenty of TVs to watch all of the action, whether it be NFL or Major League Baseball as we get into the playoffs just around the corner. Of course, the NBA, which will be starting up. Anything that's on, they've always got it on at East Coast Wings and Grill, and you can enjoy some great food and drinks while watching all that action. 60 different flavors of wings to choose from, plus all kinds of other great items on the menu. 24 draft beers on tap. Everything you need for a great time watching the action while enjoying some great food and drinks. That's at East Coast Wings and Grill, just off Highway 64. Kate Hyde Boulevard is the road that runs right between Lowe's and Walmart there off Highway 64 in Bartlett. And that's where you'll find them, East Coast Wings and Grill.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Spectacular moments. Only a real diamond will do. At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll discover a brilliant selection of natural diamonds, along with our promise of unmatched quality and service. The only real diamond is a natural diamond from Sissy's. Find yours when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Discover the natural diamond of your dreams only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
It's Western Trading Days at Sunrise Chevrolet Buick GMC in Faulknerville. Almost $10,000 off MSRP on a new 24 Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate 4x4. Even get over $3,000 off MSRP on a new 24 Buick Encore GX. Sunrise Chevrolet Buick GMC in Collierville. We make it fun to buy a car. We are professional grade.
Price does not include licensing costs, registration fees, taxes, and dealer dock fee of $7.99, which are to be paid by the consumer. Sierra RZ 323,623, MSRP 87,500, dealer discount 72.18, purchase allowance 27.50, Encore SB 011,607, MSRP 31,130, dealer discount 31.35, expires 9/30/24.
Is your house or your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash 915246799 or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum, this dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:42 the time. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy with you. Zach Boyd producing, and our producer in training, Elijah Seegers, here, carrying you through the early morning on this Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Not a great weekend for the Memphis Tigers football team, but hopefully they'll be able to bounce back. But the margin for error is very, very slim now as far as reaching those goals of getting into the conference championship game, winning the championship, becoming that group of 5 representative. Basketball gets underway today. The Memphis Tigers' first official practice is today. Still don't know who that third assistant coach is on that Tiger basketball staff, if I'm not mistaken, right? We have not heard anything else.
Not officially from the university. Nothing's been announced.
Right, but we do know that Nolan Smith has joined Penny Hardaway's staff to go along with the longtime veteran coach Mike Davis, who basically fills in, but he moves into that slot vacated by Rick Stansbury, who was fired, along with 3 other members of the staff. And we'll see if maybe Andre Turner gets the promotion. If not, Jermaine Johnson's still on that staff, and there are other candidates as well, because obviously you could have, the 3 assistants alongside the head coach and then the rest of the staff. So that's underway. Before too long, the big doubleheader for St. Jude, the beneficiary, on October 15th will be taking place, as Memphis will take on North Carolina, and then the women from the University of Memphis will take on South Carolina. Okay, so there's the story in the DM about the Grizzlies and the funding for the renovations and all that stuff. So here's the headline from the DM. Memphis Mayor Paul Young plans to ask the Tennessee... Well, there's 2 things. One, Paul Young is going to ask the Tennessee General Assembly about a plan to not only renovate the arena, but also to help fund security enhancements for both inside and, I guess, outside of the building in that area, which I think is excellent. That is certainly something that's extremely important. But the plans to renovate the arena and ink eventually a new long-term deal with the Grizzlies, according to this story, could be a catch. House Speaker Cameron Sexton and Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally have threatened to withhold sales tax funding from Memphis if the gun reform referendum stays on the ballot. And according to this, those ballot questions are now a done deal. While withholding sales tax could be difficult, they could deny other funding requests. Jeff Calkins has written a story about that at the DM, wondering if saying no to the money would keep the Grizzlies in town or not. So here we are back to this discussion.
This isn't about the original money that they were getting from the state for the renovation. This is about, the asking for stuff for security, camera system, stuff like that, and plus any other future type money that you're asking for. Things that if you can't get could possibly lead to the Grizzlies not wanting to stay. I certainly don't know all the details about the gun referendum and all that stuff, but certainly it would be extremely unfortunate if the state started withholding money from Memphis because of something like that. political battles and all of that stuff between Memphis and Nashville. Who knows where all this could go? But yeah, I mean, if we ended up losing the Grizzlies because of something like that, that would not be good.
Yeah, look, this is the first I've even seen of this story and heard of this gun referendum. So I'm certainly not the expert with this, but it just makes you upset, irate at times, I would think, when you're talking about two separate things, and because you don't want something to be a referendum, to be something that's voted on, whatever the case may be, and you're going to withhold something for something else that's already been approved, I don't get it. I don't understand that. But that's politics, for goodness sakes. That's the way they operate, politicians. If you don't do this, well, then I'm going to do that. And that's a bunch of BS, to be honest with you. So I don't know anything about the gun referendum. I don't care about the gun referendum. But I do care about the Grizzlies and the Grizzlies staying here for many, 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 many years to come, and to make sure that this money, which was allocated to them, is given to them. Now, the amount of money... That's not the threat. That money is there. This is about... So what is he talking about withholding?
They want to ask the state for help with all the security stuff, and the state's already talked about possibly withholding sales tax money from the city from Memphis. The original money that was given to the Memphis, that's already here. That is not. They're not taking that away.
Wait. But this security plan, that money has not been allocated.
Correct. That is.
So this guy's talking about withholding something that hasn't even been approved?
No, the state has already threatened to withhold sales tax money. So if they're already telling you we're not going to give you something,
right?
Then you're going to go ask them for something else. They're probably going to say no to that too.
Okay. So the sales tax money you're saying has nothing to do with the renovations of FedEx Forum that was originally approved.
The original $300 million is already here. I mean, that's that. They're not saying you're not getting that.
It's already here, but it's not being used yet because the Grizzlies have not come to the conclusion of how much money it will take. Correct?
I don't know where they stand as far as the plan and all that stuff.
Okay.
But they also want these improvements downtown before they're willing to ink some long-term deal to stay down there.
So they keep adding things that they want. Now, even though I think this is what's needed, you certainly need improved security, right? Whatever measures it takes to make everybody feel safe and secure when they go downtown, especially go to games, that makes sense to me. But it's still, again, adding to what they want. So we'll see what comes of this. But, I mean, you keep adding things, and then all of a sudden you don't give it to them, then they could turn around and say, okay, well, you didn't give us this, so we're going to want to leave when the contract ends. Well, then they add another thing. Well, they didn't give us this, so, again, we're thinking about... So that's what I hope they don't do. But this one makes sense to me. This addition of security, this plan to help fund security enhancements makes an awful lot of sense to me. So we'll see what comes of that. That's an interesting story. I saw another story speaking of money and sports, about AutoZone Park. This is, again, the DM. The Memphis Redbirds taxpayer-owned ballpark could be getting a much-needed refresh soon. The city of Memphis is readying $16 million in bonds to subsidize a two-part project that includes renovations to AutoZone Park. Now, has nothing to do with the soccer stadium and all that stuff, but for the baseball team and the renovations, which are much needed as well, that certainly helps.
Yeah, that stadium needs a facelift.
Needs a bath.
I mean, it's time. So that'd be great if they could do something like that. Because the stadium needs it.
And I know the company that owns them recently, last year, put money in for the Jumbotron and some things like that they had to do to fix a few things. But we're talking about a pretty big, major overhaul with this tax money. So that makes sense. But as far as where we are with the soccer team, we're nowhere at this point. All right, speaking of baseball, first firing has happened. Now we had one or two in-season firings, and I guess this technically is in season as well because we have one more week to go in the regular season. But next Monday, they usually call it Black Monday. That's when a bunch of managers are fired. I don't know how many are going to get fired this time around because, again, several moves have already been made. And one of those moves was made yesterday. The Reds have fired manager David Bell.
Yeah, there was a lot of they had some high expectations, thought they could be a playoff contender this year. Now, some of it's been injury related, but they just haven't been very good. So, not a complete shock that they would try something new and go a different direction there. It's been a while for the Reds.
And the thought is that perhaps the Reds will go after Skip Schumacher, who is expected, I guess, to be fired by the Marlins.
Yeah, he was. He kind of had some. It seems like he feels like he could be, which is crazy. I mean, he was manager of the year last year, but now it happens quick. It can change in a hurry. Your fortunes when you're a manager or a coach in any sport, and they have been absolutely terrible this year. So even though he was manager of the year last year, he could very well be out of a job this year.
Mentioned this earlier. The Cardinals drew $2.869 million this year. Again, nothing to sneeze at, but for the first time since 2006. They did not go over the 3 million mark in attendance. Whether or not they make a move at the end of the year with Ali Marmol, we'll see. But nothing yet and nothing rumored to be happening in St. Louis. Over the weekend on the field, pretty good heroics for Tristan Casas of the Boston Red Sox. The 24-year-old homered in his first 3 at-bats in a game. Pretty special.
That's pretty good.
Speaking of home runs, Aaron Judge now up to 55, but here comes Shohei Ohtani. After Ohtani had the huge game in which he went 6 for 6 with the 10 runs batted in, the 3 home runs, went over the 50-50 mark in stolen bases and home runs, I thought they'd rest him. I thought he would be in the lineup the next day. He was in the lineup, hit another home run. Then he hit another home run yesterday. So he is on the tail of Judge. I don't know. Are they going to give him a rest or not? Or they feel that there's enough rest?
He's a DH, for goodness sake. He bats 4 times a game.
I know, but
he need to rest for?
It's happened historically. You always see this. A guy gets a day rest. This guy never rests. The only time he misses any playing time is if there's an injury. And he hasn't been hurt that much. Obviously, they had the pitch that affected the pitching, the Tommy John surgery, but not his hitting. Aaron Judge has missed time, of course, because of injuries. But I'm a little surprised because the Yankees, have they clinched yet the division title?
I guess, I don't know if they've actually clinched the division. They're pretty close, I think, if they haven't. But I don't know that they've actually clinched the division yet.
How about the, let me see, the Yankees have clinched. The Yankees have clinched. Okay, so the Yankees haven't clinched the division title.
They're 6 games up with. They basically need they need one more. I guess their magic number would be 1.
Yeah, and the Dodgers haven't clinched either technically over the Padres. So I guess I understand now.
The Dodgers play the Padres. Does that start tonight? They play the Padres this week. I'm not saying Dodgers can't.
Let's see. The Dodgers, no, today there's only 4 games on tap. The Dodgers on Tuesday will begin a series with the Padres. Yeah, so it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Wrapped up anything.
Yeah, so it makes sense. Now, again, I still stick by my guns there. The next day, give the guy a day of rest, but apparently that's not the option there for Dave Roberts. He wants to keep playing. So Shohei at 53, Judge at 55. Shohei has a chance to run down Aaron Judge for home runs.
Well, good. And again, the Dodgers, with the Padres breathing down their neck, it's the Padres have been absolutely fantastic here, after the trade deadline, and so Dodgers can't afford to be swept in that one.
From the WNBA, Caitlin Clark and her Indiana Fever team took one on the chin. They got routed in Game 1 of their playoff series. She finished, 4th in the MVP voting? Asia Wilson winning another MVP. I think she finished 4th.
I don't know where she finished.
But she gets drilled. She gets drilled in the eye in the game, ends up with a black eye and no foul called. I mean, rips her right in the face. The officials missed that one. The other thing from the first day of the WNBA playoffs, historic for the Seattle Storm as far as futility is concerned. They scored 2 points in the fourth quarter of their first-round playoff game or playoff series. It tied for the fewest points for a team in a playoff quarter since 2006. Their 0 field goals, you think would be a record, actually just tied for the fewest in WNBA postseason quarter history since 2006. I think that's when they went to quarters. I don't know if they've always been quarters. I could be wrong about that. But so there was another team that actually had 0 field goals in the fourth quarter. Seattle matches that with a 2-point fourth quarter performance. Town Village Audubon Park is senior living in today's world, located at 950 Cherry Road, just off Park Avenue in the heart of East Memphis, offering more options to fit your needs more than ever before. They are dedicated to the long-term satisfaction and the quality of life for their residents. All they ask is that you're 55 years of age or older. So again, looking at those golden years for yourself, for any loved one, makes sense to take a look at Town Village Audubon Park and take a tour. Call them and set up a tour today. Independent living, short-term respite stay, monthly options, everything you need to continue to enjoy life to its fullest. The amenities and the services, second to none for their residents. Apartments include full kitchen, washer and dryer, all-inclusive resort-style dining with multiple venues, bi-weekly housekeeping, outpatient therapy, and then the community amenities, a community social area that features a fitness center, a home theater, game rooms, indoor pool, whirlpool, bistro, 24-hour pantry, plus 5 landscape courtyards, resident gardening areas, dog park, gated parking, recreational, religious, social, and wellness activities. Again, all the amenities you want for your loved one or for yourself for those golden years. Town Village Audubon Park, 901-537-0002. Call them today, set up a tour, or go online to townvillageaudubonpark.com. When we come back, we open up Hour 3, talking college football with Barrett Sallee, and then we'll dive into NFL Week 3. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft meals, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Enjoy Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings, get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekend. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, fall is football.
The 2025 Range Rover Sport sits right at the heart of the Land Rover lineup, offering a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility. Smaller and more agile than a full-size Range Rover, it's a great option for everyone who wants luxury and practicality. Every model comes with 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive standard. Whether you navigate city streets or tackle rough terrain, Range Rover Sport has you covered. Every drive is powerful and breathtaking. The 2025 Range Rover Sport is the epitome of sporty luxury. Test drive one in Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City.
Feeling secure in your own home shouldn't be a luxury. It should be a given. That's why Simply Safe Home Security is dedicated to providing protection and peace of mind to all families. With Live Guard technology, Simply Safe's 24/7 monitoring agents can act within 5 seconds of receiving your alarm. Visit simplysafecolin.com and save 50% on a new system with a free indoor security camera. There is no safe like Simply Safe. The PayPal debit card now earns you 5% cash back in the monthly category of your choosing. Groceries, restaurants, health, beauty, gas, and apparel on up to $1,000 of monthly purchases. For me, it's apparel for online shopping with my busy travel schedule during football season. Sign up for the PayPal debit card through the new app.
Terms apply. See PayPal app. This card is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A., pursuant to license by MasterCard International, Inc.
Traffic brought to you by 901 Eats to Go, 3135 Kirby Whitten Road in Bartlett. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. Eats with the Z. Good food fast.
Sports 56 traffic.
spots, like coming inbound on Bill Morris, there westbound 385, as you work your way past Winchester, all the way up to 240. Still looks pretty good over here right now. At least it's moving on 40 westbound from, let's say, Germantown Parkway all the way to Sycamore View Road. Hey, don't miss the Paul Prince Party coming up this Saturday at the Humane Society, Memphis, Shelby County. Take a tour, meet some of the animals. For more information, just log on to memphishumane.org. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:01 the time, 76 degrees here in the metropolitan Memphis area. Looking at a high of 90 today. A little bit of sun, and then clouds will be rolling in. We got rain later tonight into the overnight hours with a low of 71 degrees. We'll talk college football with Barrett Salee in just a moment. Jenkins Floors and More is the third-hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings, and they invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors and More has a new warehouse in Horn Lake, 2356 Goodman Road. They also have locations in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, and they make your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. So again, you go with Jenkins, they'll have the job done in 2 weeks. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. And again, they sell it wholesale, going to save you lots of money in the process. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business. Time now to talk with Barrett Salee.
Joining Greg and Eli is Barrett Salee, host of the College Football Smothered and Covered podcast and SiriusXM College Sports Radio and columnist for Outkick.com. Here's Barrett Salee with Greg and Eli.
He is the always busy Barrett Salee. You heard his credentials. We have him each and every Monday during the college football season joining us here on Sports 56 Mornings. And now for this week and this week only, he becomes a fan of my Philadelphia Phillies. How are you?
I'm very frustrated, man, because I have to root for your Phillies and you screw it up this week. I mean, Greg.
I think we'd rather have the Mets in there than the Braves. I don't care how hurt you guys are.
Well, I'm not just disappointed in them. I'm disappointed in you.
Uh-oh. Why?
How can you be a fan of that franchise? Even when they're good, they're losers.
No, they're not. I grew up in that area. That's the team I grew up with as a kid. You were a Braves fan. I'm a Phillies fan. You stick through them. You stick with them through thick and thin, I'll tell you that much.
Well, no, but I join you. I join you in that fandom for 3 days. Like, I have to be filthy and dirty as a Phillies fan for 3 days.
Man,
that is tough. That is really tough.
You are so lucky. I like you, Barrett, man. That's fighting words right there, man. But I don't know. Look, I'd rather see for selfish reasons, we've taken care of the Braves the last couple of postseasons. You guys are banged up. You're still a good, solid team with a good pitching staff, so anything's possible. But I'd rather face the Mets than the Braves. They scare me. So we'll see what happens. I'll call them up and tell them that Barrett Salee needs your help, and maybe they'll come through for you.
Please do. You go back in time. Like, grab one of those flux capacitors that Michael J. Fox had,
yes,
and just go back to Friday morning and tell him that.
Man, oh, man. All right, we'll see what happens. All right, so in the SEC, the two coaches that are certainly on the hot seat, what did they do for their jobs? I know it's only one game, but Sam Pittman with Arkansas, they probably should be 4-0. They get a win on the Plains. And then Billy Napier and Florida disposed of a bad Mississippi State team on the road as well.
Yeah, Billy Napier didn't do anything for his job. I mean, it's already taken care of. They know what they're going to do. I think the real problem is that the entire carousel is in a state of confusion because not only are you going to have 12 coaching staffs in the playoffs, you're going to have, 30, 35 that are in the mix in mid-November?
Right.
So, it's a situation where if Florida wants to go get somebody, when? How? What's the process? There's no blueprint for it. The answer is they don't know. Nobody knows. So I think that's the holdup. I don't think it's going to prevent them from making a move during the season. It's just trying to figure out exactly how to get your ducks in a row. And I would be surprised if he lasts until mid-November or mid-October. I'm honestly surprised it didn't happen yesterday, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened today. Because this is their bye week, and you know how it is with bye weeks. It's just like if you're going to try to figure out a change in direction and who's doing what and who has what headset and things like this is the time to do it. So until the cocktail party, the week before the cocktail party, we're sort of still sitting in flux. But I don't think that changed anything for Sam Pittman. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because like you said, they should be 4-0. The loss was, it was inexcusable, but it's just sometimes you just get goofy like that. It's not an excuse. It's just kind of the way it is, especially when you have a team in Arkansas that's not, as talented as a lot of others. Yeah. So, but beating Auburn on the road, finding a way to get it done in a situation where it was bad for both sides, but finding a way to get it done, that helps. That helps because you're now looking in the mirror. You're halfway to bowl eligibility. The schedule from an Arkansas perspective is easy by Arkansas standards in the SEC, which is different than the standards for most because, Arkansas usually gets screwed by the schedule makers. But I think it helps a lot.
Tennessee's win over Oklahoma, doing it with defense, holding them to 222 yards. Nico throws for less than 200 yards, only attempted 21 passes. Is this like a sign of growth from Tennessee and show that they're even more of a contender because the defense is legit?
Yes, it is. It's confirmation that something that I've thought for a little while, that this is a fully complete Tennessee team, one of the best teams in the country. And I got a lot of blowback by saying, oh, you're just a prisoner of the moment and all this other stuff. I'm like, look, and then who have they played? I'm like, they played Oklahoma on the road. They played NC State, which NC State's a little bit of a mess, but they still were impressive in that performance. And it's like, okay, well, if Tennessee ain't played nobody, nobody's played nobody, right? I mean, they've played a lot better teams than a lot of other schools out there. Everyone's talking about how great Ole Miss is, and Ole Miss's schedule so far is crap.
Yes,
know? And look, I love Ole Miss. I don't criticize them for that. So yeah, they're a complete football team. I remember at media days, I had Josh Heupel for about 10 minutes on the show, and he looked at me and he said, "We are one defensive lineman away from being an elite 2 deep." And I guess he was lying because he's got 45.
Right.
I mean, it's scary. It is scary.
So there's a new Bo campaign. This time it's Bo Knows Hugh. Bo Wallace. What's going on with that?
Well, look, I'm a firm believer there are 3 sides to every story, right? There's one side, there's the other side, and then there's the truth, somewhere in the middle. For me, like piling on Hugh for what he said about his players trying to find a player who doesn't throw interceptions and finding a running back that doesn't fumble the ball in the end zone, like I have no problem with that. I mean, that's the truth, and those players know that. And all the people that are criticizing him for that are the same people that criticize coaches for coach speak. Well, if you want coaches to be honest, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And he could have just sat there and danced around the answer, but everyone complains about that too. So I'm fine with what he said because it's not like Peyton Thorne and Hank Brown and the running back crew. Like, it's not like they don't know what's happening. I mean, so I'm fine with that. As far as the Bo Wallace stuff about, Hugh not helping him and shooting him up just to get him to play, I'd love to know more about it. Am I going to take him at his word that some of that happened, or there's something along those lines that was done? Okay, yeah, I believe something like that happened. How much? To what extent? I have no idea, but it's probably not as extreme as he said because, like I said, there's one side, the other side, and there's the middle. And the middle is usually the truth. So I'd like to hear more about that. But as far as criticizing Hugh for calling out his players and throwing them under the bus in the press conference, that's fine. I have no problem with that. They know they threw the interceptions. They know they fumbled. The receivers know they're not catching the ball. I mean, what's the problem? I have no problem with it.
I hear you. It's interesting because you're right. People will complain in the media that, he's throwing his guys under the bus. And then they'll also, on the other hand, complain that they never get anything from one said coach. So you can't have it both ways. I like transparency. I like to hear. We have Penny Hardaway here, who's very transparent. I don't know if he'll change his ways this year, but he's very transparent and saying things. Sometimes he says something and ends up backfiring in his face. But I love the fact that coaches are like that. There's not as many anymore.
No, there's not. And, I mean, it's, again, you can't sit here and complain that you get coach speak 24/7, 365, and then complain when you get what you actually want and what you ask for.
Hey, Barrett, how good is BYU?
That quarterback's pretty darn good, man, and that defense is filthy. I don't know, though, if that game Saturday night was more BYU being great or the Avery Johnson experience for Kansas State basically being Bo Nix in Central America, in the central part of the country. Like, it is Avery Johnson, for all that he is in terms of talent, he is all over the place at times. So I don't want to dodge the question. I think it's just wait and see. I know Kalani Sitake will win the battle of the line of scrimmage. And look, when you're BYU and when you're looking at the Cougars and you see on the line of scrimmage junior, senior, senior,
Right.
Those are guys that have families, that have mortgages because of their 2-year mission that they go on. I mean, that's always a sign that BYU is going to be competitive, and if they don't beat you, they're going to beat you up. So I'd like to see you against tougher competition. I thought going in that Kansas State was a little overrated. I thought Avery Johnson was good. I did not think he was as erratic as he's been. So I don't want to dodge the question, but it's more wait and see. But it's the Big 12, so I think everybody's waiting to see in the Big 12 at this point.
It feels like the BYU-Utah could end up being obviously that's a great rivalry to begin with. That might end up being what decides the Big 12.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. And you know what? You never know. You never know exactly what's going to happen in terms of the Big 12. There could be a team that just wins close game after close game after close game like TCU did and finds their way into an advantageous spot, or you could just have them all beat each other up and none of them be ready for a national title, and unfortunately one has to go to the playoff no matter what.
Barrett Sallee joining us on these Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines, the host of College Football Smothered and Covered. He's also a host on SiriusXM College Radio and a columnist for Outkick. All right, when is it okay to storm the field, in your opinion?
Not before the end of a game. That is for sure.
Is it okay to storm when you're beating Baylor, if you're Colorado?
No. Well, but after the Hail Mary, though.
See, that's what I think the circumstance. I don't think you can look at it.
But that didn't win the game. Then they had to play over.
But it's still it's a game that you had lost, basically.
Yeah, you were gonna lose, and you pulled a rabbit out of your hat. I would, if I'm Colorado, I'd storm the field every chance I get because you're not going to get a lot of chances, man. That thing is still going to come crashing down. But I think after what we saw to win, to send it to overtime, I'm okay with it. But it's also a situation like this. It's easy to storm the field there, right? Because you just come down that ramp where they have the black artificial turf. It's easy in other places too. Like at Auburn or Alabama, when you have to like jump over 3 fences and hedges and all that other stuff, it's just not worth it.
Well, let me ask this to Eli. If Memphis was able, now let's say the game was in Memphis, okay, it wasn't, so it's a moot point. But if Memphis had that same scenario against Navy, where they got the onside kick after they had scored, they come down, they throw the touchdown, they win the game in the final moments. Is that field storming on a win against Navy? You would have no problem. Okay.
You get fair enough. Like that
fair enough.
Well, yeah, but you also, here's the thing is, like, Memphis used to be a downtrodden program, but it hasn't been for, 10, 15 years. Colorado was horrendous 2 years ago and has been horrendous for, the 3-4 years prior to that. Was it 2016 when they went to the Pac-12 championship game?
So you're saying it's been few and far between, those kind of wins, so why not celebrate it?
Are you really? If Memphis was bad 2 years ago, and you beat Navy or you beat, I don't know, whoever, like middle to upper tier, AAC or mid to upper tier, Power 5, Power 4. If it's Ryan Silverfield, do you do it? Probably not. If Deion Sanders coaching Memphis, you probably do.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I just think when you get a super dramatic game, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, if it was right there at they won the game and they're going crazy, but then you had overtime and double overtime, and by then you've settled down a little bit. So I don't know.
Yeah, but look at the way it was won, even as it was. A kid fumbling at the goal line. It still was unbelievably dramatic to actually finish the game.
That's true. And by the way, Travis Hunter, he better get an invite to New York.
I'm convinced that there's 4 of him because he's in every he's not just on the field every play, he's doing something important every play. You can't be literally all over the field. I don't understand it.
Right. No, that's a great point.
It's a long way to go, but is the Heisman right now Cam Ward's to lose?
I honestly think Travis Hunter is right there with him.
I hope so.
Even if Colorado goes 5-7. People are going to casual sports fans that have Heisman votes are going to watch him and be like, "Oh my God, he literally is everywhere."
Yeah.
And that's the thing is a lot of us that have votes that are following the sport 24/7, 365 are going to probably give it to Cam Ward right now. But there are a lot of voters who haven't seen Miami play at all, but they have seen Colorado play.
Yeah, I'm all for Travis Hunter certainly being in it, but Cam Ward has been he's been everything that they thought he was going to be. That's for sure.
And you were right, Barrett, and I was wrong about South Florida, who hung for a half, and then they got destroyed in the second half.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't think they have the depth. I love that coaching staff, and Golish has done a great job, and he's probably going to get some offers, but I don't know. I just don't think that team's deep enough and as well conditioned enough to hang with some of these teams, but man, the AAC, we'll see. They're good enough to be competitive, that's for sure.
Hey, by the way, with the group of 5, certainly that representative in flux, and Memphis took a step backwards. Obviously, still have a chance, but wiggle room is now gone.
That?
I can't wait to hear the Ryan Silverfield presser, to be over there for the presser today, because they had no answers defensively. They got worked. That worked.
Was bizarre.
It was bizarre. It was ugly. It was just. But James Madison throwing up 70 on North Carolina. Now, I would assume Mac Brown is done at the end of the season, right? One way or the other. But James Madison and their schedule, they could easily run the table. Has anybody talked about James Madison and that possible group of 5 rep?
Not yet. We mentioned it a little bit on SiriusXM yesterday. I think yesterday or Saturday helped, but unfortunately for James Madison, it's more, oh my God, what happened to North Carolina than it is, James Madison is good.
True.
Which is unfair because James Madison is good. But I think that's one of those teams, and I think anybody outside of the AAC and perhaps Mountain West in terms of that group of 5 spot, it's okay, let's get to November. before we really an AAC traditional team like Memphis or Boise State or something like that. Sure, but James Madison, it's like let's cool it for a little bit. Let's see what happens, and let's see if they can do it consistently before we truly start talking about this.
Right.
It was kind of the same with Western Michigan when PJ Fleck was there. It's like, okay, they're playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Let's just chill for a second, and then they're like, oh my God, they're actually going to do this.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, I mean, last year when James Madison was good, but then they lost their quarterback. I think everybody expected them to maybe struggle a little bit this year, and now they're just out there putting 70 on teams. Georgia begins the death march this week with their upcoming schedule with all these teams they've got. But who do you like, Georgia, Alabama?
I like Alabama. The offensive line against Wisconsin, that's a big deal that I don't think anybody's talking about. Not turning the ball over as much as they did, that's a big deal. I don't think people are talking about that as much. Still think Wisconsin's a pretty good team. Tyler Van Dyke, obviously notwithstanding. I don't know, man. I just think that if Alabama continues to do what they do and Jalen Milroe builds off of his performance against Wisconsin, that's going to be tough. I love Carson Beck. I think he's a fantastic quarterback. But if you get into a shootout with Alabama, if you're Georgia, it might expose your weakness, which is the receiving corps. And I think that's what's probably going to happen.
So I like the fact they both got bye weeks, that the schedule makers and the SEC both gave them the bye leading into that game. No advantage for either team.
They do a good job with that. It's tradition. Alabama and LSU always get a bye before that game, too. So there's precedent for it. They say it's random. That's a lie.
It is a lie.
So out of Georgia's games against Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, and Tennessee, what do you think the record is?
In those, 3-1.
So you do think they'll go
3-1? Man, 2-2 sounds better though.
It's unbelievable that literally the next 2 months they play 4 of the top 6 teams in the country, and they're one of the other 2.
That's true.
There's one top 6 team they don't play or involved in a game, and that's Ohio State in the next 2 months for Georgia.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2-2.
All right.
But they still might win. But they still might win the SEC.
He is Barrett Sallee, host of College Football Smothered and Covered. Check out that great podcast, host on SiriusXM College Radio, and a columnist for Outkick. Good luck to our Phillies this week, Barrett.
Oh, man, our Phillies. I just can't.
I know you can't. Well, just for a few days. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next Monday.
See y'all.
Take care. The Crazy Coop, ladies and gentlemen. You ready to take your game or tailgating to a whole new level? The Crazy Coop on Stage Road has you covered. Whole wings, boneless wings, over 32 mouth-watering secret sauces. 32! Jalapeno cheddar, just to name one. I love the barbecue bacon bourbon, to name another. If you have 6 or you have 60 people, kick off your game day with Crazy Coop party packs for at home or wherever you tailgate. High school football, college football, whatever the case may be, soccer games. Special bulk prices are a touchdown for you, so ask about that. Visit crazycoopstage.com to customize your wings and sauces, like Nashville Hot or Crazy Hot Suicide. And don't forget to add garlic Parmesan fries, fried dill pickles, refreshing carrot and celery sticks, all their delicious sides. For the full menu, visit crazycoopstage.com. They got burgers, catfish fillets, nuggets, crazy kid meals. That's the crazycoopstage.com. You'd be crazy not to visit the Coop. The Crazy Coop is on Stage Road. It's west of Appling. Visit them today for lunch or dinner. Tell them you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings. The new downtown location. I went right by it yesterday. I think it's on Madison downtown, if I'm not mistaken. It is opening soon. Visit crazycoopstage.com. Find them on Instagram and Facebook. It's the Crazy Coop. We'll talk NFL when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can Scissor services so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Hi, I'm Finley Lavin, defender for University of Memphis Women's Soccer. Southern Security offers the latest in technology with our personal teller machines. Our PTMs allow you to speak in real time with a Southern Security team member. The experience and service you trust and know, delivered at your convenience. To locate a PTM near you, visit us online at southernsecurity.org or call 901-452-7900. Southern Security is a proud supporter of the University of Memphis Athletics and 901 Women, federally insured by NCUA.
Mitsubishi's final days of summer sales event is about to be gone, so you better hurry to Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Get 42 MPG Highway and 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage, $17,930 or $299 a month. 2024 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, we Gossett at $27,245 or $349 a month. And get 420 total range MPGE and 2024 Outlander PHEV, $32,750 or $390 a month. Plus, you'll never go wrong with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Get to Gossett Mitsubishi today at 1870 Covington Pike and 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com. That's Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
14,767, MSRP 18,430, Eclipse RZO 65,450, MSRP 28,745, PHEV RZO 66681, MSRP 42,750, includes all rebates and incentives, 1,095 acquisition fee, 25 cents per mile, excess wear and tear, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:29 is the time. By the way, before we get to the NFL, at the Orpheum this past week and last night, the play is about Jackson called MJ. Man, was that good. They had different people playing MJ at different ages. And they were all great. The guy playing the older Michael Jackson, he was absolutely phenomenal and looked like him. It was eerie. It was weird.
So it's not about Michael Jordan? I was thinking that. This was The Last Dance, the musical. It's not?
No, but that's a good idea.
It's unfortunate.
That's a good idea for all you producers.
Guess I'll cancel my tickets.
Yeah, producers of plays out there. But, yeah, great musical last night at the Orpheum.
I was all excited to see who was going to play Will Perdue. And I didn't get to see it.
All right, NFL week number 3. Kicked off on Thursday with the Jets over the Pats 24-3. And then the bulk of the action, of course, yesterday with 2 games tonight. The Jags, a 5.5-point underdog at the Bills. That will kick at 6:30. The Commanders, a 7.5-point dog at the Bengals. That one will kick at 7:15. We'll have it for you right here on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, beginning with the pregame at 7 o'clock. The Packers roll into the city of Nashville, to play the Titans. And once again, Will Levis, as Brandon Lang likes to say, did some Will Levis things. He'll be what in a couple of years? He'll be working for, who is it? Car Wash, isn't it? Out in Southern California. 2 interceptions from Will Levis, but to add insult to injury with the Packers winning 30-14 in Nashville and the Titans falling to 0-3, former Titans quarterback Malik Willis, who would have thunk it, 13-19, 202 yards and a touchdown, 6 rushes, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Packers added 8 sacks on defense, but Malik Willis, with Jordan Love unable to play, leads his team to a dub against his former team. Congrats to him.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing just enough. They're not throwing the ball much at all, but he was effective here. The NFL, it's impossible to figure out. It's just
impossible.
It's week to week.
That's why I tweeted out yesterday.
It's impossible to figure it out. But there are some things you can figure out. And the Titans being bad is one of them. The Titans are just bad. That's a bad football team.
I just thought they would win this game for some reason.
You should be able to beat a Malik Willis-led team.
That's why I picked them.
But they're just like, Levis won't quit turning it over. I mean, they didn't even really try to run the ball much, and they didn't have any success when they did. They just don't. I mean, they need better quarterback play. Will Levis, obviously very early in the career still, but he doesn't look like the guy.
Yeah, look, these young quarterbacks, with the exception of maybe C.J. Stroud, who didn't have his best game yesterday, but he's been lights out. A lot of these young quarterbacks, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, whatever the case may be, have had some issues. Some of them ups and a few downs, some more downs than ups. Obviously, Bryce Young got benched for what's happened to him. But most of them have had a silver lining somewhere or another. Now, Justin Fields, of course, didn't work out in Chicago. New place, new location, new coaching staff, and he looks fantastic. So sometimes a change of scenery may be the answer. But Levis, it's early still, but my gosh, you got to stop turning the ball over because there's no way they're winning games if you continue to do so. Speaking of young quarterbacks and turnovers, the Colts, Anthony Richardson in his second year, but it may as well be his rookie year because he was out for most of last season. Caleb Williams, the first overall pick in this year's draft, the rookie quarterback for the Bears. Colts get the win, 21-16. Now, they did it on the strength of Jonathan Taylor's running, 23 carries, 110 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Richardson, 2 picks, 1 horrible pick deep in the red zone. Caleb Williams, good numbers, 33 of 52, 363, 2 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 interceptions. So the Colts beat the Bears, both teams 1-2.
Yeah, the Bears, with all of the weapons they went and got in the offseason, I thought their offense would be better than this. But Williams does not look great. You know, they did. Odunze got going, had a big game. But with him and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and Cole Kmet's a pretty good tight end, I thought this offense was going to be a heck of a lot better than what they've shown.
I think they eventually will, but for anybody to expect that they would be a well-oiled machine to start the season with a rookie quarterback, it just doesn't happen. But Williams certainly is showing signs of brilliance and then signs of, you're not in Kansas anymore, buddy. I mean, this is the NFL. You can't run around and throw up crap and hope that something good happens. It usually will turn out bad. Steelers beat the Chargers 20-10. Mike Tomlin's just a great coach. That's all there's to it. And Arthur Smith is doing a real nice job with the offense, not throwing too much on Justin Fields. He looks good. 20-10 win, so just enough offense. Calvin Austin, the former Memphis Tiger, catches a 55-yard touchdown from Justin Fields. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert, in this battle of Justins, he re-aggravates his ankle injury, has to leave the game, so we'll see what happens with Herbert here for the future. But, again, the Steelers at 3-0, I don't think anybody expected that. They're winning with timely offense, but with that rugged defense.
Yeah, their defense has been fantastic, and knew that the defense probably would be pretty darn good. And, yeah, they're just relying on them. They're not asking Fields to do a ton, Like, they're just asking him to, kind of do his thing. And it wasn't like Justin Fields was bad with the Bears. Justin Fields was pretty darn good with the Bears. Bears just had that opportunity to get the number 1 overall pick and go a different route and kind of reset the schedule as far as paying a quarterback goes. But he's been pretty good for Pittsburgh, and that's all they really need out of him right now with that defense playing the way they are.
The Steelers' acquisition of Justin Fields, one of the great moves this year, the offseason going into this year, one of the great moves. Nobody put too much stock into that, but the way it's turning out, as long as the Steelers are doing what they're doing and keep winning games, unless they all of a sudden go on a 3 or 4 game losing streak, Russell Wilson, first of all, is not healthy enough. He's not ready to go. But there's no way you make the quarterback switch. As long as they keep winning, there's no way all of a sudden you go, hey, we're 5-0, let's bring in Russell Wilson. You just don't do something like that. I'm not saying they would, but you don't do it.
Fleet Feet is the place to go to get all your running gear. You want to make sure you get shoes just right for you. Go see the folks at Fleet Feet, and they'll take care of you. They take a look at the way you run, the way you walk. And they'll fit you with those shoes that are perfect for you based on where you put the weight on the different parts of your feet. And they got all the other gear that you need as well. Plus, they can help you. They've got, if you need advice on training for races or just getting started or something like that, hey, they're all runners. They'll help you with that. You can get involved in their group runs. They sponsor, of course, races all over the place. They are all about runners at Fleet Feet. In East Memphis, they're in the Laurelwood Shopping Center. Out in Collierville, Poplar and Houston Levy, next door to Huey's. 2 locations for you to find them at Fleet Feet.
How about the Vikings now 3-0 all over the Texans, 34-7. Sam Darnold, 17 of 28, 181 yards, 4 touchdown passes. However, later in the game, gets his knee banged up. Will get an MRI done on him today. Of course, he lost McCarthy. And Sam Darnold was going to start either way, but J.J. McCarthy, the rook, who got hurt. Darnold, there are a lot of nervous people up in Minneapolis right now waiting for this news on Darnold, who looks fantastic. In the meantime, C.J. Stroud, who is really, really good, had an off game. 2 interceptions, did throw 1 touchdown pass to Cam Akers, but the Texans just manhandled by the Vikings.
Again, try and figure this out. It's one thing for the Vikings to win the game, but for them to hold the Texans to 7 points,
right.
You just can't figure this stuff out in the NFL on a weekly basis.
Eagles beat the Saints 15-12. In this game, the Eagles' defense came to play. Nakobe Dean, part of that, the former Horn Lake star. The Saints, scoring at will the first few games, were held in check. Saquon Barkley, big game for Philly. I think the Giants regret not retaining Saquon Barkley. 17 totes, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert, 10 catches, 170 yards. They overcome several mistakes and Jalen Hurts interception, and also another 1 or 2 boneheaded decisions by Nick Sirianni, their head coach, to get the dub in New Orleans.
Yeah, they had the big 3rd and 16, 61-yard pass to Goddard. That was huge for them. And, it is, again, just the Saints go from putting up 40 and looking like this unbelievable offense to suddenly struggling to score against the Eagles defense that had looked at times porous. I don't know. But Saquon Barkley has been he's the real deal. The dude is just really, really good. Despite the drop pass that cost him the game on Monday night, the dude is really, really good.
This goes back to the theme of the NFL that it's hard to predict. Did anybody see the Broncos? This is one I lost big on. Did anybody see the Broncos going into Tampa? I know Tampa's not great, but they were 2-0. Did anybody see them going in there and winning 26-7 with rookie quarterback Bo Nix? Bo Nix, 25 of 36 for 216 yards and a touchdown run. What Bo Nix isn't doing is making mistakes. He's not putting up huge numbers, but he's not throwing too many picks or a fumble in the ball. Will Lutz had 4 field goals. Broncos, 26-7.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw that. Tyler Beatty, by the way, 70 yards rushing for Denver in that one for the Memphis area product. Baker Mayfield had looked like the MVP of the league basically through the first 2 weeks, and then suddenly they're struggling throwing the ball. So It just doesn't make sense on a weekly basis. I don't know who's actually good and who's actually bad in the NFL, other than the Titans are bad, and I think the Chiefs are good. I think.
Giants beat the Browns 21-15. Again, Cleveland, not a juggernaut, but a lot of people have them in the postseason. The freaking Giants go into Cleveland, into the dog pound, and win 21-15. And Daniel Jones outplays Deshaun Watson. Now, Watson had 2 touchdown passes to Amari Cooper, but Daniel Jones, the much maligned DJ, 24 of 34, 236, 2 touchdowns, both to Malik Neighbors. What the Giants did extremely well in the offseason was draft that guy.
No, he's fun to watch, and he's really, really good. Yeah, Cleveland, I don't know. Cleveland at some point, I don't know what they're doing with the Deshaun Watson. Like, they're not good. Their offense is bad. Really bad.
You know, they never should have.
But you're paying them all that money. I don't know. I don't know what you do with that whole situation.
Who's their running back right now?
Jerome Ford.
Okay. Yeah, they're just not getting enough out of the running game. Watson's making mistakes. He did throw 2 touchdown passes, but 15 points isn't going to cut the mustard.
I mean, the Giants looked legitimately like maybe the worst team in the NFL.
Right.
I mean, to lose to them at home. And, the Giants fumbled the opening kickoff, and the Browns scored on the first play. So literally like 10 seconds into the game, the Browns already had a 7-0 lead. And then they didn't score again until the fourth quarter.
Well, from one team that looked like maybe the worst team to, I would argue, the team that did look like the worst team because they were the worst team, the Panthers go into Las Vegas, beat the Raiders. I mean, they beat them down. 36-22. Antonio Pierce, talk about throwing guys under the bus. He thinks some players have already quit on him. 36-22. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, 26 of 37, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard, 21 carries, 114 yards. So was it Bryce Young the whole time?
Well, it doesn't look good for Bryce Young. That's for sure. Dalton, I think Dalton made 1 start last year and threw for over 300 yards. Makes a start here, throws for over 300 yards. Whereas Young can't get 300 yards over like the stretch of about 3 games. It is not a good look with Andy. Every time Andy Dalton starts, he goes over 300 yards. It doesn't look good for Bryce Young.
No, and Tepper, that owner, there's no way he's going back to Bryce Young. It is Andy Dalton. He wants to win football games. He wants people to come to the games. Andy Dalton gives them the better chance. Unfortunately, Bryce Young, I think, may have played, unless it's an injury thing or mop-up duty, Bryce Young may have played his final football game in Carolina. There's been the stories about some teams making overtures towards Carolina about interest in him. I don't know if they'll deal him, not this season, but he could be looking at a future with another team. So we'll see what happens there. All right, we'll come back. We'll look at the rest of the NFL games that took place over the weekend. All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. It's Chevy truck season going on right now. So together, let's drive the All-Star Chevrolet in OB, where all the Chevy trucks are. Every new Silverado you're looking for, stop by there today, tomorrow, whenever, and test drive some of those beautiful Silverados. Financing as low as 1.9%, no payments for 90 days. That's 0 payments for 3 months because your good credit deserves it. Just in time for tailgating at the next game, All-Star Chevy has the best tailgating Tahoes. If you work in law enforcement, you're a first responder, you work in the healthcare business, military, you're a teacher or a recent graduate, you get a $500 bonus. They also have a huge pre-owned section. I'm talking huge. Jeeps, Fords, Nissans, Toyotas, cargo vans, a ton of pre-owned Silverados. If you've got any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch and get the most money back for it. So don't miss this Chevy truck season sale. It's going on now in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. Check them out online at allstarautogroup.com. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You are
someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
You're a contractor and you need concrete coating and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? I think we can order that stuff, but you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coatings and supplies now at TSS Supply, where everything you need is in stock. If you're working in the tri-state Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi area, everything you need for concrete coating is at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road, Memphis. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings and supplies all in one place. If you're looking for a particular item, need large quantities, or just have general questions, call 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. The friendly, knowledgeable folks at TSS Supply have over 150 years combined experience in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies. Come by and visit TSS Supply Friday, September 27th. Sports 56 will be broadcasting live from 7 to 10 a.m. with Greg and Eli, and then John Harden from 11 to 1. Sports 56 will have free giveaways plus breakfast and lunch during the live broadcast. TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. With and run at I-40. Family fun come together.
Country music singer-songwriter Kylie Morgan loves her ring from Genesis Diamonds.
To help us tell everyone how great Central Barbecue is.
Oh, I don't think we need it either, but I just thought it might be fun to have somebody more famous than us chime in on the best barbecue in Memphis.
Well, did he talk about how Central Barbecue slow smokes its meat for 24 hours to make sure that it's perfectly tender and doesn't need a sauce?
Well, no, not exactly.
Well, did he talk about how there are Central Barbecue locations all over town?
No.
Did you write his copy for him?
I didn't want to be insulting.
So what did he say?
Hi, I'm Dave Woloshin, the voice of the Memphis Tigers. I love Central Barbecue, and I vote. Does that work okay?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 9:49 the time.
Yeah, so Andy Dalton has started 2 games in Carolina. Last year, the one game he started, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Then, of course, yesterday, over 300 yards with 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns.
And no interceptions. So he's started 2 games, thrown for over 300 yards in both of them. Bryce Young started the 16 games last year and 2 to start this year. He's thrown for over 300 yards once. He's had more games under 100 yards than he's had over 300 yards.
Yeah,
like it doesn't look good when immediately the other guy comes in and lights it up in that offense, and you're not doing that at all.
Well, that's why I said last week before the benching that we're starting to close in on bust territory because you can only go so far with blaming the organization, although they should be blamed for a lot of things. That he doesn't have enough weapons and things like that. They didn't really look into the offensive line. But then Andy Dalton walks in there, like you said, and just clobbers it. And they get a huge win on the road by 14 points. Are you kidding me? So certainly it doesn't look good for Bryce Young and all the hubbub about his size and things of that nature.
He's only had 5 games over 200 yards passing.
Hey, look, maybe it'll be with another team. Maybe he'll still have a big career, or at least a good, serviceable career. But the chance of a bust is getting more and more because we have had number 1 overalls quarterbacks that have been busts. We've had high drafted quarterbacks that have been busts. He may just be the next one. It's just unfortunate. All right, rest of the NFL. Seahawks beat the Dolphins 24-3. Dolphins, I mean, even before Tua got hurt, weren't good. I don't get it. I thought they were going to be a good team this year. Skylar Thompson, he plays, he gets injured. Tim Boyle replaces him after Thompson's chest injury. Of course, they picked up last week, was it Tyler Huntley?
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that Tyler Huntley's going to be starting here before too long. DK Metcalf, a 71-yard touchdown reception from Geno Smith. How good Seattle?
I mean,
the Niners are 1-2 in that division. Are they in that? Yeah, they're in the same division, right?
I think the Seahawks are okay. I mean, listen, the Dolphins with the Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle are not beating anybody.
Right, that's why you better have I don't understand some of these teams that don't have a legitimate backup quarterback. I don't get it. Lions beat the Cardinals 20-13. Jared Goff, a couple of touchdown passes. Nice bounce back from last week. David Montgomery rushed for over 100 yards and a touchdown. The Cowboys, they outscored the Ravens 19-0 in the fourth and still lose. That's how far they were behind. Derrick Henry, 25 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't think anybody wanted to get in front of him to tackle him. And then you had Lamar Jackson doing Lamar Jackson things. He just beats NFC teams. He beats them all. He's lost one time to an NFC team. I guess one highlight for Dallas, Brandon Albury with a 65-yard field goal.
Well, I said last week, when you have a defense that cannot stop the run at all, Baltimore is not the team you want to see next up on your schedule. And they did exactly what you'd expect. They just came in, ran the ball down the Cowboys' throats because the Cowboys cannot stop the run. So Lamar Jackson only had to throw 15 passes. Knew Derrick Henry would go off. They can't stop anybody from running the football. It was shown last year, and it's been shown to start this year. And I'm sure Derrick Henry, after the Cowboys didn't really want to sign him in the offseason, probably wanted to put it in their face a little bit as well. But their run defense is just god-awful.
It's like I was watching the NFL version of the Memphis Navy game, to be honest with you, the way they couldn't stop the quarterback. Rams somehow come back and beat the 49ers 27-24 at home, but a partisan 49ers crowd. There were a lot of 49ers jerseys in that crowd at SoFi. Rams rally from 10 down in the fourth. Matt Stafford 16-25, 221 and a touchdown. Brock Purdy is really good. 22 of 30, 292 and 3 touchdowns, 10 carries, 41 yards, but not enough. That was the defense of the Rams, the defense of the 49ers letting them down big time.
Yeah, that was surprising to see that. Obviously, both teams just are dealing with all kinds of injuries. The former Tennessee Valjuan Jennings goes off for the 49ers without Debo, without Christian McCaffrey, without George Kittle. He was absolutely fantastic.
Did he catch all 3 of the touchdowns?
Yeah, he had 11 catches, 175 yards, 3 touchdowns. But obviously the Rams are playing without Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. There's a lot of issues with both of those teams. That's a heck of a comeback by the Rams. I did not see that coming.
Hard-fought win for the Chiefs on the road in Atlanta, an improved Falcons team, but the Chiefs go to 3-0. No surprise, 22-17 win. The Falcons certainly had their chances. I think they turned the ball over on downs twice in the fourth quarter. Pat Mahomes had a couple of touchdown passes. but continues to say that he is certainly not playing as well as he should be able to play. That's interesting. Rodney Harrison from NBC said Travis Kelce no longer a great player. So I'm glad he's able to make that announcement after 3 weeks. I know Kelce has not been a big part of this offense through 3 weeks, but to deem Travis Kelce no longer great, that's a statement.
Doug texts in. He said the NFL's easy to figure out. They have their little pet in Kansas City. They'll cheat week after week for them to keep them relevant. Yeah, I mean, the pass interference, the non-call on the pass interference in the end zone.
Oh.
I feel for Atlanta fans. I don't know how you don't call that. Honestly, that is called every week. Like that, it was so obvious that he got there early, that he didn't turn around and look at the ball at all. Like they call that seemingly every single time. So I can understand that. That was a brutal no call.
It was horrible, but also one that cost me money. Your Cowboys, Dak Prescott. It should have been a safety called. I had played a live betting. I called for the safety with great odds, and there it was, right there in the end zone. Nobody. He throws the ball. It should have been a safety anyway. Even if it's not, it should have been intentional grounding in the end zone. Even it was a Pereira who said it. I think it was Pereira. If not, it was the other guy. Should have been safety. Called no safety. Called just an incomplete pass. Oh, my gosh, that killed me. That could have been my savior.
You're live betting safeties, and you're that.
I'm desperate. It's the NFL. I lose every play. I had a safety. They took it away from me.
You're live bet safeties. You probably are going to lose a lot of plays.
That was because I was chasing after a bad day.
But yeah, I can understand that thought of that. Maybe Kansas City gets that call that others may not have. But I honestly don't know how that's not pass interference call there. And yeah, I mean the Falcons certainly had plenty of opportunities beyond that. They had the ball twice down there with a chance. But yeah, that's a brutal no call for Falcons fans. Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended, that's where you'll find them. That's where you're going to find beautiful jewelry, an amazing selection from all the top designers that you can imagine. They've got them all there at Genesis Diamonds, line after line of jewelry that nobody else in town has. It's where you can get those top-of-the-line things at great prices as well. Value, that's what it's about. They've got true direct importer prices, connections that go back 50 plus years, no middleman markups, no consignment fees, no third-party people that they have to pay, so they're able to save you, the shopper, the consumer, money, so you're going to get a great deal on great jewelry. That's what you'll find at Genesis Diamonds. Handcrafted rings that are just absolutely, she's going to absolutely love, whether it be an engagement ring or any other ring or whatever it is that you're looking for. Go see them. Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended.
And that's going to do it for us today on this Monday. Stay tuned. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. Big thanks to Barrett Salih for joining us. Tomorrow, C.J. O'Gara on the SEC and college football. We'll have author Mike Silver on the NFL, some other guests that we're lining up as well, plus Humdinger's Trivia. It all starts bright and early at 7 a.m. We want to thank Elijah Seegers. He's our producer in training. Of course, our man, Zach Boyd. For Eli Savoy, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everybody.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. It's almost football time now. The days are getting shorter, the weather's changing, and we all are beginning to at least think about Christmas.